Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
No nonsense, Bud Crawford not having it. Here we go, round 9. Oh, and that's a good early land by Crawford.
I think it's more than no nonsense. As Teddy Atlas would always say, Canelo was looking to be friends, and Crawford is not looking to be friends.
Great exchange from Terence Crawford right there. Canelo's landing, but not like Terence Crawford in this exchange.
This is furious action.
And there's Terence.
You know, he wasn't hitting the body or anything. He was hitting my elbow because I was blocking it, but I think I was the better man tonight.
Tempo, shotgun snap to Raiola. Play fakes right over the middle. Caught by Key. There he goes. Turbo button. Touchdown. Dane Key. 39 yards. 4 wide. Trips right. We're out of the gun. Browses snap, play action, fake. Backside pressure. Comes. Ball stripped. It's picked up with Airy at the 20. 15, 10, 5. Scoop and score. Touchdown, Huskers!
I asked the guys. I said, I told them I still enjoy it, but to show up tomorrow ready to go. And again, I want to make it very clear. It's not about any one opponent in the Big Ten. We're now in Big Ten play. We played 3 non-conference games. We're a proud member of the Big Ten, and it's a challenging conference with a tough schedule. We're going to play a lot of great teams. We have to show up every week and improve. I mean, the first thing we have to do is improve before we even get to the game. So. I think the guys will be ready to go tomorrow, and we'll have another good week.
Good morning. Welcome into Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, DB?
How are we doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm good. Yes.
We had a good weekend.
Yeah, it was outside of the Steelers. I mean, if we could just field a kickoff and give ourselves a chance.
That would be helpful.
But
that would be helpful.
Dodgers put Bell to Bunda last night, and I think they've got an okay cushion.
They figured it out a little bit.
Yeah. My hot take of the Chargers winning the AFC West has got a little better yesterday.
Yeah. Chiefs are helping them out.
And, yeah.
What else happened?
My guy, clearly the best on the planet, got her done.
Yes.
I was I was more nervous than he was, probably. Even though all week, I told it, I told my buddies and exactly what I thought was going to happen. I maintained. I was all in on Crawford from the jump, and as you know, not surprised at how he did it. Stood his ground in the middle of the ring. I tell you, every time somebody says they're bigger and stronger, he makes it a point to show you you're not.
Yeah.
He did it to Horn. He did it to Cambosis. He did it to Porter. It's just his version of standing his ground.
And it's been a conversation several times, right?
Yeah,
this is not like every time he's moved up in weight.
It annoys him to no end too. So
every time he faces well, this guy's probably a natural middleweight, and it's like, I don't think he cares.
Yeah.
I don't think he cares. I'm going to be honest with you.
And, VJ hit me with something this morning. I used to have it on my Twitter where I'd say, comparison is the thief of joy. And, he was talking about his sermon, and he said, judgment and joy can't coexist, which they can't. That's a very nice alliterational way to say it. Judgment and joy can't exist unless you take a posture of humility.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
But then I would say it's less judgment and more something else.
Yeah. Admiration
teaching
or appreciation.
Yeah.
I found myself, and I was like, yeah, you know what? That is so true. It doesn't matter if it's sports or relationships, even how about a fan?
We see that all the time.
That's why there's no joy, right? We judge every single thing. And I was in the middle of it. I had no joy watching the early parts of that boxing match because I kept judging Max Kellerman waiting for Canelo to throw some bomb. I'm like, knock it off. It's not going to happen. We're 4 or 5 rounds into this, and you keep saying the same thing until he gets hit with one of the – no, you know what?
You know what I felt like?
Good chance he won't. It was driving me up the wall.
There were 2 things that drove me crazy about just the way the fight was called, because I felt like I was watching something else than what the commentators were watching.
Me too.
So there was 2 things. Number one, they kept saying like, "Oh, Canelo got him with that body shot." It's like he's hitting his elbows all night.
I know. Which TB,
that's what he does.
Which he reiterated.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, he talked about in the post match presser. He's like, I blocked most of those shots. I don't know how you could watch that as a professional boxing commentator and sit here and think that those shots are getting through because they just weren't.
I came back from Channel 7 and I had to. It's hard. I mean, Netflix wasn't just replaying that bad boy.
Yeah.
So I had to find it in its entirety.
Yep.
I had to peruse and search and search and search. Watch that thing with no volume.
No, yeah.
Like, don't let the crowd sway you.
Very pro Canelo crowd. Yeah.
You can't make the case that he won 4 rounds.
So here's the other thing that I think happens, because I wanted to talk to you about this.
Did you want to talk to me?
Hey, I want to talk to you about this. I was looking forward. I was like, I can talk to DB today. Let's go.
Oh shoot, that's every day.
There was. I thought about this because I was trying to figure out how the scores ended up what they ended up, because I don't know how you could watch that, know anything about boxing. And listen, I don't know as much as a lot of people, but I can tell when somebody gets their ass whipped, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we saw on Saturday night.
I mean, how frustrated was Canelo?
Oh, you could see it visibly early too. Yeah. You could see it. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do we land with the scores that we got? And so a lot of this, and this has to do a lot with the judgment versus joy thing, is when you, and it's also something I think we deal with here as Husker fans, with expectations also being a thief of joy. We go into some of these fights, and if you're a judge and you think something about what this fight's going 100%. To be,
that's the prism.
And then you see a close round, it's going to fit the eye of your prism.
That's the prism that they want to see it through. Because there's just no way.
Because there's the 2 of the first 4 rounds were close-ish. Fair?
Yeah.
So, 2.
I wouldn't have even had any problems if you'd have gone 2-2 after 4.
Yeah.
I thought it was 3-1, but you could have convinced me.
I thought Canelo won 2, but I thought Crawford won the other 3. But you're right. If it was 2-2 after 4, I see it. But if you're sitting there and you go, okay, I think this about Canelo, I think this about Canelo, I think this about Canelo, and I think these other things about Crawford, then you're going to see it differently. We see it all the time, right? You see what you want to see, you hear what you want to hear. And we heard it was actually, when thinking about this, Kellerman's commentary was actually super useful because he gave a voice to, I think, what the judges were thinking.
Yeah.
They thought, oh, Canelo's setting up a big punch. That's what he wants to do. He's landing this. I don't know how he could watch that fight and not think Crawford had every single thing going the way he wanted to.
Yeah.
At one point, he's just standing there and daring Canelo to hit him.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I already figured out you can't hurt me.
How about it was just, it was, I don't know, man. How about my guy, though?
Which one?
And I almost said Coach Dan and Troy. Rocking the red blazer.
Love it.
Took his wife out for her birthday.
They looked like Devaney out there.
Living his best life. And guess what was in my DMs?
What's that?
It's Michigan week. I'm like, these guys are connected, okay? Like, they rock with one another.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like, then he turns around, he's at the office.
Yeah.
He's at the office at like 6 a.m.
Yeah, he probably just got off the flight and came over. He couldn't have gone to bed.
I wonder. I bet he did. I wonder if he showered.
You think he slept for like 2 hours on the plane and got back? That got to be the only sleep he got.
No, and I bet he's right back there. Hey, Shane. I'm about to send Shane his number.
Yeah, just see what happens. Be like, hey, Coach, what's going on? How's the fight?
I'm 0 for like last 4 of him answering my calls.
I don't tell him we don't even want to talk about Michigan. We just want to talk about Crawford. That'll be fine. But no,
Shane, you got that?
Yeah, you want me to do it right now?
Yeah, do it.
Are you going to freeze?
No, I'm good.
I don't know what he's going to say.
I'm just going to ask him how the fight was. I don't even need to talk about Michigan.
All right, hit him up, Shane.
Actually, I'm going to see if there's a quarterback controversy with TJ Latif. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
The other thing I want to talk about the fight, though, is
he's going to be pissed.
It weirdly reminded me of watching the second Fury Wilder fight, where everybody's.
Hold on. I think he answered.
Oh, snap! Did he? Shane, do we have him? All right, we're going to Coach Matt Rhule here, who had himself a pretty good weekend. Coach, how are we doing this morning?
Coach, you there?
Hello?
Hey, there you go.
There.
How are you?
You got issues.
You see what I deal with every day, Coach?
Why do I have issues?
I mean, it's 7:10 in the morning.
I thought you had been up for about 3 hours by now, Coach. What's going on?
I have been. I'm walking on the. I'm not walking on the grass fields barefoot. Getting some earth on my feet.
Oh Lord! I watched the show the other day. Do you care about? Wait, how long do I have? Can I tell you this quick funny story? I watched the show the other day. It's called The Wildling. I'm notorious for watching bad television shows. But the girl in the movie ended up being part wolf. So they couldn't figure out why she liked to walk barefoot when she was a kid. But she said it was so she could feel one with the earth. Like, are you part werewolf? I mean, you're into this blood moon rising. Like, what do we got going on, man?
Yeah, Holgerson got me into this, for thousands and thousands of years we walked barefoot. So, like, the earth is healing, right? So, like, get all the bad energy out. So we got a little workout in this morning and, just trying to make sure my head's clear. So when I start watching the film here in about 15 minutes, I'm locked in.
Well, first of all, I appreciate you answering. I was like 0 for my last 7 in calling you. I was beginning to feel some type of way.
Well, you called me in the morning. This is if anybody wants to get me, this is when they get me. If you call me now, you really need to talk to me.
It also probably helps that it didn't show up as Damon's number, right?
Hey, bill collectors, right? You thought 888 or what?
It was 402. That's why I picked it up. I was like, oh, it must be,
important.
Must be someone that needs me.
So how about? Oh, that's nice. I can appreciate that, but I do have issues. So no rest for the weary, though, huh? Just you knock out the win. You get on the tarmac. You celebrate. You got the nice red. I know Julie got that blazer for you. You did not buy that blazer.
No, I have a little bit of style.
Come
on. We don't
on.
have to just start taking shots at that. You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy?
What?
That blazer, I bought that blazer, I think I bought that blazer like when I was at Temple, and it still had the tag on it. Because as I went upstairs to change, Susan was in there with Julie, and she handed me, she said, do you want to cut the tag off that? But unfortunately, I've been about 250 pounds, so the blazer didn't fit right. And then I put it on. It was a little bit big, but Julie was like, it matches my dress. Let's go. So it was her birthday. So
and that's cool too, because you don't love always wearing red too. So you took one for the team.
Well, let me say this. I love wearing red, but the backdrop in our press conferences is red. So red on red is not a great look. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, look like the high seat, the Kool-Aid guy. So.
I know how you hate that term. There is no roulette, is there? We're just drinking the good stuff.
No, we're just working. We're just working.
So you turn right back around. You get after. You had the guys in yesterday early. How cool is it that they know that you can still have part of your personal life but get work done too, right? That's the epitome of model behavior.
Well, I think there's two things. Number one, it was 122 degrees on that turf for 4 hours. I would have loved to have gone home and watched college football and watched the fight on Netflix. But with Bud Crawford, if I called Bud and said, Bud, can you come to this game? Would he show up? Yes. And so when he asked me to go to the send-off, I was there. And then, we went to the fight because we already knew he was going to win and didn't want to not be a part of that history and his history and Nebraska history. And then secondly, I asked the players if it was okay. I went to we have a Unity Council like Coach Osborne invented, so we have a similar one. And I asked the guys, I said, hey, I don't want to be a distraction. The optics of this could be bad. And they were like, these guys, they were like, Coach, what are you talking about? And I was like, is it okay if I go to the fight? And Sierra says, well, you're going to miss the game? And Deshaun and them were like, come on, Sierra. and they were like,
why does that not surprise me though?
Yeah. And they were like, Coach, but that was their point. They're like, Coach, what do we care? What do we care what you do after the game? Like, are you going to be there Sunday? I was like, well, I was the third guy in the office. I can't beat Snow into the office. If I'm a werewolf, he's a vampire. I can't beat Corey in the office. I can't beat Butler in the office, but I can sure beat Dana in the office. So I was in there early.
Oh,
Coach,
go ahead.
How great is it? I mean, I know you and Terence are pretty close at this point, but like, how great is it that you have this example, at this point, one of the greatest to ever do it at what he does right in your own backyard, modeling basically the exact thing they were asking your football team to do, where it's like, hey, we don't care what people say about us. We don't care what the narratives are. We don't care about everything that's going on around us. We care about the work and going out and doing what we do.
Yeah, and I think the fact that he went out and risked it all, like there's the one, he's on the pivot, he didn't even do it for he didn't do it for the money, he didn't do it for anything. He did it because he wants to chase greatness. And when you chase greatness, there's always going to be someone who isn't great taking shots at you're trying to be great. But he didn't care. And so I was at the send-off when he was talking to the media. And even though, he was saying, hey, me and Canelo, we are two first-time Hall of Famers. So he had so much respect for Canelo. Yet when they went to the weigh-in, he said he was going to stomp a mud hole in his you-know-what. And so it was like, it was not if, it was when. And, I mean, honestly, I remember the first year here, sitting at the press conference and everyone, kind of being like, why didn't we hire, this coach? Why did we hire this coach? And I don't know if you guys remember me saying like, hey, when you hire me, this is what it is.
Yeah,
like,
that's what you get.
I'm going to try to do it slow and methodically and try to do it the right way. And I mean, we're nowhere near it's done. I mean, we're 3-0. We haven't played anybody in the Big Ten yet. Like, I don't know what we are, but it's not a matter to me of if, it's a matter of when. And so when you have an example of that, I love it. And, we went down to the ring after the fight. We saw Canelo, and then we went down backstage and saw Bud, and it was like everyone there has a Nebraska hat on. Like he's like, I mean, like how could I not be there? You know what I'm saying? Like, how could you absolutely not be there? Because, I know, I've said this a bunch of times. I say this respectfully. Like when I go out recruiting, like we're trying to recruit against Alabama, we're trying to recruit against Michigan, we're trying to recruit against Ohio State. So to have the Nebraska end be front and center on Netflix, like I kind of have to be in that picture. Yeah. And that people that know me, it's not even really my nature. Like I am a t-shirt and shorts sit at home guy, but you know what? Like this is the job, and this is the job in today's college football. So we're going to try to do it better than it's ever been done.
I love the whole, we were talking before we got you, this judgment and joy can't coexist at the same time. Right. So you've kind of morphed into this whole, it's just you guys. It's not necessarily us against the world, but you're trying to be your own benchmark when you're commanding this kind of excellence from the guys, and you stay on the gas, whether it's 59-7 or 60 whatever to nothing. Like, do they understand that like you're chasing like the elite level greatness, not the scoreboard?
Yeah, I think they understand that. I walked in at halftime. I said, "Are we okay with how that half ended?" And it was a resounding no, a resounding no. Because, the defense, they let them, gave up a couple first downs. The offense in 2 minutes didn't move the football. And I told them, I said, before we went back out, I said, hey, I know I yelled last week. I'm not going to yell this week. I said, but here's what I want you to understand, okay? Take great pride in the fact that you're not happy with how that ended. It's not the score. It's the process. It's the standard. This is how we expect to play. And anybody that ever listens to Tom Osborne speak, that's all he talks about. So, it's never us against the world. Like, we love everyone. And if people know, then I'll listen to them. If they don't know, I'm not going to listen to them. The only people that ever frustrate me, Damon, are people who should know but don't, or who should know but they profit off of saying things that aren't true. But for us, I tell our players shouldn't even listen to me as the ultimate authority. They shouldn't even listen to their position coach. Intuitively, as men, they have to watch the tape. They have to take in all the feedback from the coaches, and they have to decide, hey, what do I need to work on? What do I need to improve? So, we looked at that game. Like, we've had the ball inside the 5 9 times this year, and we scored 6 touchdowns. That's horrific. That's terrible. So, hey, let's fix that. But it doesn't have to be like, we don't need to do a whole segment on a talk show about it. Like, it's just like, hey, we need to fix this. You guys agree? Yeah. You guys are like, yeah, we need to fix it. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next thing. So that's why I like this team. They're mature. Whereas last year's team was not mature. They were growing. This year's team's more mature. And guess what? Next year's team will be even more mature. It'll get more and more and more easy to communicate.
It's interesting because I felt like, not necessarily that I've had to reintroduce myself to a new coach, but I can tell, like, your intensity is now, it's full bloom. It was always in there. It came out in spurts, but it's relentless. Do the guys kind of understand this is who you've always wanted to be and what you've always talked about? Now they're just getting the real life examples.
Well, we released that video last week, and I had a lot of people say, like, "Oh, I didn't know you had that in you." I'm like, "Well, because you're not in the locker room." I'm like, I've always been like that. Now there's some guys I had to temper it with, right? Like, some people, if I said something to them, they would, get sad, and it's because we weren't very good. And so when you think about like pruning a tree, and this is not my example, I've heard a great coach say it, I can't remember who. When the tree is weak and growing, you water it. When the tree is strong and grown, you prune it. And so, like, we're stronger than we were, so we can handle more duress. We can handle more stress. But make no mistake, the first year, I brought the entire defense in after a bad practice on a Tuesday, and I said, you guys understand, I'd rather lose than play with guys who don't practice. And I was like, you call Gifford, call those guys and ask them about that. I was like, I don't care. So, I mean, those things happened. Like, 2 years ago, we lost to Michigan, ironically, and we went out and we practiced live on Sunday after a loss. I said, either you play on Saturdays or you play on Sundays. And then, by the way, we were playing on Friday night. Like, the sports science guys, Mitch almost had a meltdown. And guess what? We beat Illinois. The issue is that if all the guys, when you've lost and you're at a program, a wonderful program where everyone's covering it, the guys are hearing so much, negative all the time that you have to be somewhat positive. And so, but it's just, you're just kind of going back and forth. But as you get better and you're a good player, then it's easy to handle. Like I can say things to Deshaun Singleton, to Buford, to Sierra, and they laugh because they know, like, all right, well, I've seen Coach Rhule, I've seen Coach Butler, I've seen all these guys do some really hard times, and they've never switched up on us. They've always stayed loyal. So when he's saying this to me, I can say something back, and I'm having fun.
Coach, let me ask you something. You brought up something really interesting there with kind of meeting guys where they're at, but I'm wondering what that looks like for you in terms of balancing meeting guys where they're at and where they need to be kind of emotionally and mentally versus not compromising the standard of where you want to get to, because it seems like that could be a little challenging sometimes.
Well, I think I learned from my father and my mother. They have always said to me, speak the truth in love. And so to me, like, I can come out there and just be like, you suck, you this, you that, da, 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 da. And there's maybe a time where that's needed. That is love. But sometimes as coaches, we say the truth, and we say it in a really hurtful way because we're angry and frustrated. We're human too. And so I think for me, it's like, hey, what does this player need to hear, and how does he need to hear it? And, I don't know. Like, I think that's just it. So I'll never compromise the standard. We had one player this year who had an emotional outburst during camp. It was completely uncalled for, inappropriate. And whereas 10 years ago, I'd have just lit him up. I said, explain to me what's going on. I don't understand. And the guy was just frustrated because he's struggling to learn, right? And he's feeling the pressure of the world. Like, make no mistake, we're paying these kids now. If you don't think they feel pressure as they're playing, they're figuring out what's my next guy, because people are counting on them. I mean, there's so much pressure. And we can't run away from that. I keep telling them right now, it's only going to grow. You want to play in the league, you want to be a good team, it's only going to grow. So you can't run away from it. But as I sat there and listened to the player talk, I helped him come up with strategies that we could learn better. We're at the same time also disciplined from what he did. You can feel however you feel. I cannot change your feelings, and you should be honest with your feelings, but you're responsible for your behavior. And so, we talk a lot about our standards over our feelings, and that's what Ben Newman, who we brought in, has helped us with. Hey, we all have different feelings, but what's the standard? And I think as coaches, we have to live that way. So if it means that, we go to Vegas and we get back at 5 o'clock in the morning, then we get back at 5 o'clock in the morning, guess what? We go to work at 5:15, and that's the standard. And so, I think it's not me. It's all the guys that have bought into, hey, what is the standard? Now, the standard's going to get a lot harder here, and so we'll see. We'll see how long we can stay true to that process. I believe we will.
Yeah, I'll get you out here on this. The relationship that you've been able to form, I kind of am familiar a little bit with your circle. I think I have a good feel of what you gravitate towards. The competitiveness you talked about, Bud, the anybody can be a nobody, the fearlessness, the embracing the next challenge. How fitting is it on the heels of his win that you got Michigan rolling into town where people will make it what it is for the matchup, but you just got to find a way to compete like you've always done, regardless of the opponent.
Yeah, every week we face a nameless, faceless opponent. And, whereas people before the year say this team's going to be good, this team's going to be bad, I used to do that. And I was sitting at the American Athletic Conference meetings with George O'Leary, and he was the head coach of UCF, and he had just become the AD too. And I was sitting with him and Julie, and he was a unique man. And he always gravitated towards me, and just, I don't know if it was the New Yorker in me, like he always talked to me. And I was like, yeah, we got a tough one. We got Penn State, and then we got Cincinnati, who's, and then he said, Matt, play them one at a time. stop talking about them. And I was like, yeah, but he's like, Matt, stop talking about them. And I was like, oh. And since that day, it's like, we got enough problems of our own to not worry about who we're playing. We respect them. We have unbelievable respect for everybody we face, but we gotta deal with us. And again, I go back to the thing I took from what Terence did is it was not. He didn't say if I win I will be the. He just said when, because he knows the way that he fights, and he expects and believes in himself, and that's all we're trying to do. And at the same time, you came to Nebraska. When I got to Nebraska, we would hear a lot, like, and even the players would talk about the schedule, like we got these guys, like, almost as a bad thing. I'm like, did you come to Nebraska to play Houston Christian only? Like, didn't you come here to play top 25 matchups? Didn't you come here because you think you're one of the best teams in the country? And aren't people supposed to be complaining that they're playing us? And I get it that we're not there yet, but there's stages to this, and you guys know this. If you want to do it right and have it built to last, and so what's the first stage? I told the guys yesterday, like, it's been 2016. I think it's 2015 and 2016 that we were undefeated in the non-conference. That we went 3-0 non-conference. Before that, it was 8 conference games. Well, guess what? I mean, 2 years in a row now, we've got 3-0 non-conference. Well, everyone can say, well, you didn't play these guys. Well, I mean, we lost to Troy a couple years ago, right? We lost to Georgia Southern. So have the players, has the administration, has the fan, has everyone who's invested, every person that buys a seat, every person that gives NIL money, have we all rallied, and have we started to beat the teams that we're supposed to beat? Yes. Well, now we get to play these big games. When I say big games, I'm talking about conference games at home in front of a crazy crowd. Yeah. That's why you came to Nebraska.
Do you have some special relationship with the student section? Because they have delivered early in the season in terms of them being at the games punctual. Are you sending out like subliminal messages or what?
No. I do go out and walk before the game, and we have kind of an invasive pregame sideline. There's people walk up to you with a cell phone and take pictures of you. Like, I tell Keith all the time, like, I love the media, but can we get them off the field?
Hey, listen, I left you alone 2 weeks in a row.
I know you did, so let's keep it, and we won. So I'm not saying you're bad luck.
Wow.
But I also, if you don't know if you've noticed, I don't go out before the game anymore.
I know.
Like, I went out when we first got there 2 weeks ago. I had to go out and do media. This past week, I walked around the field 7 times, which is biblical, and so I was like, hey, I'm going to go claim this field, walk around it 7 times. And the students, there's a bunch of students out there, and I, wave at the students. But I just think at the end of the day, I think our game operations have done a good job. From the Will Compton video to the the highlight video last week to the, there's been balloons some games, the light show. There's all kinds of cool stuff happening at the game, none of which matter to me other than I do want my wife and kids. I do want Jenny and Zoe, I want everyone to go and I want them to have fun at the game besides just the football, and I want the football to be good. So we're working on the football, but I think Brendan Meyer and all the marketing people have done a good job. And so you want the students to go to the game. And I was proud of the students. A lot of them left at halftime. I was like, go have fun. Go take over O Street. You know what I mean? Like, I want, as much as I appreciate everyone staying for the whole game, it's like, it is kind of nice. It is kind of nice to have some games where everyone on our team gets in the game and the students can, it's about 1:30, 2 o'clock, and they can go be college students. So it was nice to have that type of game. This game will be a 4-quarter, maybe a 5-quarter war. So the students will be locked in.
Yeah,
you hear me breathing heavy right now? You hear how hard I'm walking right now?
You're down to like 134. You look like you need to be doing those commercials where they have the puppies behind the fences and feed the hungry.
I would just give it time. I took all my extra large clothes and put them in a box. And Hallie was like, "You want me to take these to Jay?" I said, "No, just put them in the other room." You
never know. You never know.
But it's never been about losing weight. It's just been about, hey, you know what? I made a decision this year that I was going to stop enjoying life and start living life. And if that meant getting up early and working out, if that meant instead of going home and sitting on the couch, going home and bumping the volleyball with Vivian Leona, I was gonna be more active. And I think sometimes when we hit, I hit 50. I think sometimes as men we say to ourselves, well, this is it. My only exercise is going to be golf. Well, you see me golf, so I had to give that up. So I said, I'm going to start doing some push-ups and sit-ups, and feel like when I walk in front of the team, feel like, like, hey, let's rise. So I've enjoyed it. We'll see how long we can keep that box in the other room.
Oh, well, man. Coach, keep on walking. Let's knock those walls of Jericho down this week and get that W over Michigan. All right.
Love it, brother.
All right, champ. Talk to you.
That is head coach Matt Rhule joining us on a humbug this morning. We appreciate him picking up the phone call.
Oh, man said 402.
That's right.
I know I've been sent to
always
voicemail.
Yeah, you never know when one of those in-state recruits is giving you a call. You know,
I said 402. It's early.
Yeah.
Shoot, I need a
burner.
Yep.
You need a Coach Rhule burner.
Me and Kevin Gates, man. I got 2 phones. Man, for real. I'm kind of offended.
You need one that has one.
I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth, though. I want to send a snarky text, but I don't want to be that dude.
Maybe I bet he answers a 308 too.
Hey, what did he say when he answered?
I just asked him if he could go on the air with Damon Benning. He said, "Yeah, let's do it."
Did he say hello?
I don't know. I was kind of overwhelmed when I was doing it. I don't remember.
Good. I appreciate the honesty, Shane. I appreciate the honesty.
My man.
That's head coach.
I mean, he was really nice, and I was not expecting him to be that nice. I was overwhelmed.
No,
I wasn't expecting him to pick up the phone.
He's intense.
Yeah.
He talks with intensity.
I like it. There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of similarities between him and Bud.
Yeah, in
the way they view the world.
He's happy too because he cut out the middleman.
Yeah. Who was that?
He no longer has to talk to me. You see, he won't come talk to me before pre-games either.
Well, I mean, he did say they're 2-0. You know,
friendship is fading. No, but I asked Bryant, his son, because he walks incessantly. He's thin too. I'm like, man, so Dad got sick of people, huh? He's like, yeah, something like that. I mean, he just used to walk. I mean, he was. What is it when you are? He's super accessible.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of got over it.
Well,
but he's got his right hand man, Wishes, former military guy, used to coach with him. Like he handles.
Yeah, kind of he's a body man.
Yeah, and he's great. And he at one point was like 300, and now he's down to like, I don't know. He's yoked, so it's hard to weigh muscle, but he's probably like 240, 245. Yeah, he looks
pretty
good.
yoked up though.
He's a nice dude.
Yeah,
to do his job.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to. I mean, listen, their last 2 games, 127-7.
They said go be students.
I mean,
Houston Christian down to 2.7 a rush, only 93 yards net rushing. Because that's interesting. Because Underwood has heard me talk about him that he's not a scrambler.
He wants to go run a little bit.
Man, is that what old Poggy gets me? Is opening up the playbook?
A little running quarterback action.
It's like, damn,
Biff.
Come on, Pokester.
Biff, what you doing to me?
Some crazy scores though. Man.
There really was. It was an interesting weekend of college football.
Yeah, for real.
I mean, not that Nebraska's game wasn't terribly interesting, but there was
my man Scott was out walking. Hey, I'm gonna need you guys to rock that all red again, like you had on last week. That was a good omen.
Well, he had the he got the Red Moon Rising memo apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, so we got a check mark on one of our boogeyman lists.
Oh shoot, what's next?
Top 25 win. Top 25 wins next.
Oh, it's the next up too.
Yeah, and the top 25 wins next. Hey, did you hear him slip in there? I know he was listening to the show.
What'd he say?
Oh, it might be a fifth quarter. Might be a fifth quarter win. Was it? Well, that was on the boogeyman list too.
Oh,
he's trying to get
overtime
win. Yeah, he's trying to go 2 for 1. Let's get the top 25. Let's get the overtime. I mean, Coach, you don't have to go to overtime for us. It's all right.
Oh, so it's a thing. I got to pay better attention to my day, Scott. He said they were red every Friday.
Yeah.
On the wall. Oh, they were all matching too.
I love it.
It just looks sweet.
Get that gear going.
Everybody's like in lockstep. They got all the pups.
I love it.
I'm kind of pumped, but I'll be curious. He's a big, the whole emotions without. Shane, I need to go back and listen to that because he had another gem in there.
Yeah.
About controlling your behavior versus feelings. Like, what's the standard?
Yeah, he said that.
Listen, that one. Your boy is going to carve up.
He said, you can't control your feelings. You can control your
behavior.
But
what's the standard? Yeah. But
what's the standard?
What's the standard?
Yeah. The behavior needs to meet the standard regardless of your feelings.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I talk about that a lot because I learned it.
So that's probably a less snarkier way to say what I said about the stories, believing the narration of the stories that support dysfunctional behavior. That's a better, he's saying it.
I think they can be different. I think if you allow your emotions to control your behavior for too long, that's where you end up.
Yeah.
Because then that's the next step of, okay, well, now I have to build this narrative around my life to explain my behavior and my emotions, right? Because I don't feel like changing one of those variables.
That's a good point.
So I do think it builds off of what you said, but I don't think what you said is snarky. By the time you get to that point, you deserve the snark.
Yeah.
Right? Like by the time you get to the point where you're building narratives to explain your behavior, you deserve and probably need the snarks. You're not hearing anything else.
Yeah, and I mean, and you saw just this past weekend. I mean, when guys are getting sent home or held out because of, listen, 2 years ago, 10 minutes, 5 minutes late wouldn't have been that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Right? Emotional outbursts at practice wouldn't have been that big of a deal. Now, it's a price to pay. You fortunate that you can stay in the facility.
Yeah.
With how he's doing business.
I really appreciate,
because guys will sit their little happy behinds down somewhere. And coming from a guy that had to sit out a half against Baylor and K-State and the second half of Kansas, I had to sit at Michigan State, did not make that trip. As a guy that
so the emotional maturity is a recent development.
So the emotional but that's why it's so big.
No, I know. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I was feeling some type of way. I'm like, you let a guy walk you through why he's having a meltdown at practice over a coach. I got booted for a butt pad.
Here's what's important.
Now, granted, it was 3 weeks in a row over the butt pad, but it was still a butt pad.
You got some warning shots?
Yeah, Charlie on a Friday. Well, you know about Charlie on a Friday. You listen to Warning Shot?
Huh.
Isn't that I need a little warning shot with 90 proof.
I don't know that one.
Oh, yeah, that's Zoe's jam.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, play Warning Shot, Charlie on a Friday.
I'll hit it during the break.
Unfortunately, she knows every word of that song. And she probably shouldn't, because really the warning shot is basically
like
this guy's got a heart broken, and
yeah,
you know, he wanted to be prepared, so give him a 95 proof of love proof, or I don't know, something like that.
Yeah,
but they had another song that I like.
Yeah.
It's short. It's only like a little 3-minute deal. But I used to listen to it all the time. I'll get the name. It's on my Spotify list. But I felt like I should put the two big hits up here together.
Absolutely. One of the things that he said in that kind of resonated with me is, and you haven't watched the show, so you won't understand this reference, but you probably should.
I should watch it, or I should understand.
You should watch the show.
Okay. I always love when you tell me what I should do, because chances are it means I won't.
I know. I'm just trying to help you out, though. You know, that's all.
Is that what you call it?
That's all I'm trying to do. You tell me all the time, HBO, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to HBO Max this thing.
Help a brother out.
Trying to help a brother out. So he said when he's talking about going over to a player and talking to him instead of yelling at him.
Yeah.
There's two things that really stick out to me there. One, it reminds me of Ted Lasso. Like, that's a very, like, hey,
Lassonian thing to do.
Yes, to go over and be like, hey, what's happening right now? Because it can't be about what's going on right now, right? So you have to figure out, like, what's actually causing this reaction, because whatever's happening right now did not lead to that. Mm-hmm. So let's figure that out first, because otherwise it's going to happen.
My famous how'd we get here?
Yeah. How did we get to this point?
How'd we get here?
Where this situation led to that
Nobody
reaction.
wants to hear that typically, though. You need some maturity, because most times when people want to reprimand you or chastise you or let you know that you did something wrong, they only care about that particular outburst or how it manifests itself. Nobody really wants to know how you got there.
But you know how you prevent future outbursts or larger problems is you figure out how you got there, right? Here's the other thing that kind of ties in a lot of what he said there is, just because you go over and have the conversation doesn't mean there's not still consequences.
100%.
Right? Instead of the consequences being getting your butt chewed at practice and all you got to run or whatever, there might be other consequences. But there will be consequences, because, again, that's how you meet a guy where he's at, but still uphold the standard.
Yeah, that is
truth in love, like Coach said.
And now he's got some options now.
Mm-hmm. Where he's not handcuffed to a situation.
Well, he doesn't have to think about it either. It's just like, hey,
next man up.
Yeah. What's the standard?
We're still going to try and help you figure what you've got going on.
Yeah, but
in the meantime,
this is what happened.
We don't have to compromise our standard in order to help you figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Right. And in order to help you figure out what's going on, that doesn't entitle you to the thing you want.
Yeah. And by the way, did you see the breaking news from old Shifty Schefter?
What do we got?
My man, Joseph Burrow.
Oh, yeah, 3 months out with the toe surgery.
Yeah.
I was trying to we'll get to this later because we're going to talk a little NFL.
And we have Sobleski, right?
At 9:30 with Brent Sobleski from Bleacher Report. But I've been last 12 hours or so, minus the sleep time, I've been trying to figure out another player that I think Joe Burrow's career path is on, where you have the flash early.
Andrew Luck.
Maybe, but he didn't get to the second half of his career.
He said maybe.
I mean, maybe. That's how you. We're on video now, so you got to do the hands.
Hey, can I just tell you how my mind works?
What's up,
Shane? Can you call my phone from the same number you call Coach Rhule from?
You want to see what it shows up as?
Yes.
It shows up as some weird Western Nebraska thing because I've ignored that call before.
I might have to can I use that number to call from?
If you're here.
Is that the only way I can do it?
You're going to come and sit in the birdhouse and call Coach Rhule.
You think that's funny?
I think it's real funny. Just get a burner. It's easier.
No, because then,
Just get a 402 burner. Oh, you know what you need?
Okay. All right, I got it.
What city is it?
It just says Nebraska, but it's 402.
Oh, when it popped up on mine, it came up with like a central or western Nebraska city.
He said you got issues. Yeah. Yes.
I love it.
Yes, I do.
I got some issues too, but mine are good issues.
Yeah.
I got some good issues.
I think it's all relative.
I want to talk about some of my issues coming up because I know it's only week 3. Much like Coach Rhule, I need to take a lap here.
You're gonna be all right.
I think I'm gonna be all right.
You didn't lose to the Seahawks at home over some cockamamie.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a different victory lap.
Oh, I thought we're putting that one off. So it's not just those 3.
I know.
It ain't just you're talking about Manning, Lagway, and
Sellers.
And Sellers.
Pick a guy. Gronowski. Pick a guy.
I'm like, wow. This dude will be.
I'm insufferable.
Oh,
if those guys continue to have this year and Nebraska wins 12 games, good Lord, we're going to need a new
12
or 10. Sorry, 10. My bad. 10 games. We're going to need a new studio because my head is not going to fit in this one.
Can't wait for this meltdown.
It's going to be fun for you. We'll be back. We're Hurrdat Sports Live.
That was literally a gut feeling. Last night we talked about it as a staff, and I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. And then this morning I woke up and I was like, let's do it. And so we stuck with it. But again, just working to get every player ready for when their name is called. And there might be a stretch where we aren't making any subs here coming up. So I thought this was a great opportunity to get more people involved and see what they can do and get them comfortable for when they're needed, because there's going to be big moments that I believe we're going to need a good handful of players that aren't starters. I just think it gives them even more confidence that we trust them when you're like, hey, we're going with this. We're starting with this, and we're not going to just feel it out and get way ahead and then put you in. I think that's a way different vibe coming off the bench. This is more like it's on them to get it done and perform, and they're not leaning on the starters to get a big lead and then they can just coast it. So I thought it was good too. Like Grand Canyon played well, and we had to work through a few things, and they did.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Why now, when they're talking to you about, hey, we want to have you be the first ever sporting director in Union, Omaha, in the history of the franchise? Like, why now? Why was now the right time to need that position and to bring you on to do that?
You know, I think when a new club builds, they like to build slowly. And for the most part around the USL, you will see the head coach taking a lot of the sporting director roles, having to do the recruitment, all of the day-to-day stuff, as well as coaching the team and putting out a team that's got to be competitive. It gets to a point where the workload is a little bit too much, and to really progress, I think clubs, and you'll see more clubs doing this now, will hire a sporting director role to take a lot of that burden off the coach, where the sporting director can do the recruitment is a big part of it. They can handle the day-to-day stuff that is outside of the realm of coaching, and I think that's why at this point Union Omaha are ready to make that next step in bringing a sporting director on.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
So, it's never us against the world. Like, we love everyone. And if people know, then I'll listen to them. If they don't know, I'm not going to listen to them. The only people that ever frustrate me, Damon, are people who should know but don't, or who should know but they profit off of saying things that aren't true. But for us, I tell our players shouldn't even listen to me as the ultimate authority. They shouldn't even listen to their position coach. Intuitively, as men, they have to watch the tape. They have to take in all the feedback from the coaches, and they have to decide, hey, what do I need to work on? What do I need to improve? So, we looked at that game. Like, we've had the ball inside the 5 9 times this year, and we scored 6 touchdowns. That's horrific. That's terrible. So, hey, let's fix that. But it doesn't have to be like, we don't need to do a whole segment on a talk show about it. Like, it's just like, hey, we need to fix this. You guys agree? Yeah. You guys are like, yeah, we need to fix it. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next thing. So that's why I like this team. They're mature. Whereas last year's team was not mature. They were growing. This year's team's more mature. And guess what? Next year's team will be even more mature. It'll get more and more and more.
Dude, it's wild.
I mean, I think you do need to come on a talk show and do a segment about it, but I understand his point. Welcome back to Hurrdat Sports Live.
His subliminals are crazy.
That's DB. I'm Ravi. Lulla. Don't forget, if you were as thrown off by the Coach Rhule segment as, frankly, the rest of us were, because DB's just like, hey, let's just cold call the head coach at Nebraska.
Now, full disclosure, it's not like I thought he was going to answer.
I don't think
I tossed it around yesterday, and I was like, But the only time you can really get him, and it typically has to be earlier than this.
Yeah, well, that's why he's walking.
Well, usually it's in the 5s.
Oh, yeah? Well, we're not on in the 5s.
So it's like.
Thank God.
Well, you see me getting out of the car sometimes.
I know. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm like, 7, there's a good chance he won't answer.
Definitely appreciate Coach giving us as much time as he did and just picking up the phone in the first place.
Hey, that IG thing that he sent out, I'm so bad at this. I'm getting better, though.
Yeah, you're getting on Instagram a little bit more.
Do I say IG?
I think you can say IG. I think that's okay. Or
so
the gram.
How do you know when that's out? Because the story disappears from the picture, right?
Yeah, you get 24 hours on a story. That's how long it stays up.
So he must have just been he legit was just getting there.
Oh, yeah.
When he spun around in his office chair?
Yeah.
Like that was in the 5s.
I mean, yeah.
Well, I asked.
You're talking about yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was serious when he said he got back at 5 and went straight to the office. Like, he must have slept on the plane. That had to be.
I'm about to ask him if he showered.
He must have slept on the plane.
And he'd be like, "Why are you asking me that?" I don't know. Because the real threshold of whether we can really be friends or not is going to boil down to hygiene.
Yeah.
To heck with everything else. And I need him to know that.
Yeah,
like he cares.
He's gonna start screening your text now too.
Dude, I could give two bleeps. And it's so good now. Like he used early on, he'd say, "Hey man, I know you don't really like that language, whatever. Excuse me."
Yeah.
Now.
Oh, he should have just asked me. Let her rip, coach. He'll deal with it.
He don't give a what. You know, his wife, she's fantastic too. She'll be like, "Matt." She's the GOAT. And did you catch how she was at the AAC conference with him too? She must rock like that.
Yeah.
You know, I was joking. I told you when I was like, man, I can't remember the last time I've seen a coach's wife here at Big Ten Media Days.
Yeah.
Just front and center. And
chilling with George O'Leary.
Yeah, she looked at me and she's like, "You know I'm Team Rhule." I was like,
"Okay." And
that's when she had the funny, and plus, who's going to get him dressed?
I was going to say, had to get the blazer out, right? Especially anytime.
I don't think I could pull off a red blazer, but I would wear one.
I think you could. You should wear one in the booth.
No.
No, why not?
No. It was already, I had on sleeves.
Yeah.
Man, it was hot.
Well, it's not going to be.
And we'll ask Jess. I think she said the on-field temp was, I thought she said 98.
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it was like 95 in the stands.
I thought it would be hotter than that.
Yeah.
But it was hot in the booth. But KC's a Windows Open guy, so I like it.
Yeah.
And it was cool.
Needs the crowd noise, a little ambiance.
It's just no fun. Like Arrowhead was muted and and the crowd was so hyped, like you just want to feel it. The only place I don't enjoy the window being open is Madison. Because you're literally from me to that camera from the fans.
Yeah.
Like you like if one wanted to just reach in and slap me, like he probably could.
Yeah. Or somebody else might slap you.
I hope not.
It's Wisconsin, man. You don't know.
Yeah, I hope not.
I've got some experience with the people from Wisconsin.
Dang, tough crowd. Tough crowd.
Yeah, it's better to be from Wisconsin than from Texas or Florida today, though.
Man, I'm a little disappointed in Arch's start because I believed in Arch. Everybody else you can have.
Arch is the one that you.
Everybody else you can have.
What did you believe about Arch?
I believe in Sark.
Oh, okay. So it's Sark more than Arch.
Well, I mean, the combination. He had Ewers looking functional. Like, why wouldn't I think Arch could be functional?
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. But you also are talking to a guy that couldn't beat out Ewers. So that's a problem.
Here we go.
Well,
now, and Arch isn't even your prime target.
He's not. But can I tell you, when you were talking this morning about like judgment and joy can't coexist, the first thing I thought of was like, I don't know. I was pretty judgy this weekend, and I had a lot of joy because I'm sitting there. And I'm in Lincoln, right? We're hanging out with our guy Kenny Bell, got inducted to the Hall of Fame. So like I'm not as connected to the rest of the college football world as I usually am on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And so I had to catch up later. But I've got people texting me, and they're like, just OMG Arch or Arch versus UTEP or whatever, right? And so I'm trying to look it up. I got bad service in the stadium. I got to wait until I get out in the rail yard and I can get some Wi-Fi.
They're working on it.
No, I get it. I understand. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying. And I finally get out to the rail yard and I look it up and I see, I think when I looked it up, it was 9 for 22 and like under 100 yards passing.
And he just was frantically throwing the ball to the other team.
And he looked horrifying. Like it was, I like the joy that filled my soul when I saw Archman, and I look up the final and he's 11 for 25, 114 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And that touchdown was late. We were talking about 0-1 for the longest time. And then I finally get back to Omaha, right? And I'm trying to catch up on scores and I'm trying to figure stuff out. And yeah.
So what prompted your call to me when I asked if you were dead?
No, so you had called me. I'd looked at it was like 4. And so I imagine you were on your way home. Or were you home at that point?
Nope, I was on my way.
Okay. So
I stopped and I got food here.
Oh, did you?
Oh, what a circus. I mean, good on Bill and
staying busy,
those guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. I was like, wow, really?
So
go home.
When I called you back,
because that was like at 6.
Yeah. When I finally got you back was when I got to my car. So I was just trying to catch up on everything from my phone, and I saw I had missed a call from you. And I go, my phone didn't ring. So, because I try very hard to make sure I answer when you call.
Well, I'm typically not calling to say how are you.
Yeah, you're like usually you call for a reason, and so I try and be very.
Although I didn't have one this time.
I think.
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
I think you did when you called, and by the time I called you back, you're like, I don't know.
I was about to tell you who got sent home.
Yeah. But so I finally got back to the car, and I'm like, oh man, I didn't realize I missed a call from DB, so I called you back right away. And
because in the group chat, I said, "Is Ravi dead?"
I hadn't even seen that chat. I hadn't even seen that text yet.
Yeah.
Until I saw later, and I was like, oh yeah, I was kind of MIA for a little bit there.
It's good for you.
It is good, have the phone. I was trying to be present with the people around me.
No, that's good. And KB's fun.
And I was trying to.
His people are fun too.
His people are great. The Colorado people are great. His family's great. His Lincoln people are great. I met some great people. It was terrific.
Everybody's just great.
Everybody was great, except DJ Lagway and Arch Manning, though, baby.
Sellers is hurt and not good. And I have a feeling I will be in last place again after this week.
We'll update. Spoiler.
We don't have to.
Spoiler alert. You are by a bit. I will say, and this goes back to the judge.
Listen, I'm cheering for Kyle. Forget you. I'm all in on Kyle.
He's chasing me down. I gotta say though, I'm watching that LSU Florida game, and every time DJ Lagway throws back or drops back and throws another interception, I'm like a kid in the candy store. I'm just ear to ear grinning every time it happened. The one in the end zone, I was like, oh buddy, that's triple coverage. We can't do that.
Yeah,
and then the one where
I'm KB all the way.
The one where he's scrambling around and then blind throws it to the sideline. He's like,
I'm not about to listen to this every week.
Oh, yes, you are, buddy.
As we miraculously get the scores posted.
Monday morning, we're going to, every week, we're going to check in on Monday morning.
This is incredible.
Yeah, I know. I'm doing work.
How do I only have 57 points?
I will say it's rough out here for you. It's and the guy that you were least excited about, Jackson Arnold, has your most points.
I was trying to work a trade with Kyle.
Well, I don't think Kyle's going to trade for you. He's doing pretty good.
Yeah, I know.
Although Austin Simmons is killing him a little bit.
Can you believe I took the guy I didn't want just because I knew that the family situation was why he left Tennessee?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I want him to be okay. It's like taking the puppy on the porch. You don't really need him, but you'll take him.
You know what you did with Nico?
And I'm like, why did I settle just to be his friend from afar? He could care less that I was supporting him.
Yeah. Also, like, let's say you're recruiting a guy, DB. I'm just going to an example.
He's actually who I thought you were going to go in on.
Who, Nico?
Yes.
Oh, there's plenty of time for Nico. Let's say you're recruiting a guy at college. I know you don't do that at the high school level. In college, let's say you're recruiting a guy, and you're meeting his family, and you're like, well, that doesn't quite smell right. Something weird's going on there. Would that not give you some reservations about the kid as well?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, but from a different distance with Nico, it was cool.
From a different.
Hey, you might actually have a chance because UCLA is looking for a head coach now, and I don't think anybody wants that job.
So isn't it crazy how I went back and forth too? I was like, man, there's this big, huge part of me that hope that thing just implodes.
Oh, it did.
But then when you spent 2 weeks hammering Nico, I was like, it's not his fault. That's his family's fault. Like, I want Nico to do well now. No, I'm going back to what I'm doing implode.
Yeah, it imploded. Man. When you're like, hey, it's a must-win game against New Mexico, I was like,
I felt like it was a little early for that.
Well, I mean, and it's a little New Mexico for that.
Yeah, they were 16-point favorites.
That's brutal. We're going to talk to our guy, Sam McKewon from the Omaha World Herald, coming up next.
A successful financial future is built one coin at a time. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned saver, we've got the financial resources and team of experts who will be with you every step of the way. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Yeah, I mean, I legitimately go into every game like it's going to be a war. I think when you do that, you don't ever get in there and say, oh, shoot, I wasn't ready for a fist fight. So I was ready for a fist fight. But that being said, I'm happy that we were able to play those guys and then get to the half. We scored 38 points. Just not happy with the last drive on defense and the last drive on offense. The 2-minute drive, and that is something that we're going to need is the 2-minute offense. So we'll have to go back and look at that. But I thought beyond that, we were extremely efficient and tackled well. Looked like we were physical. We played the 2 defense and this the second to last drive on defense. Put the whole group in, so we were able to get them in early, and that was really just as much just the heat, and we have good players on that group, so we need to get them to play. So a lot of guys got to play a lot of snaps. TJ Lateef, I think that's a golden day for him, right? To be able to play that many snaps. Cortez Mills to make that big play, catch those many balls. Isaiah Mosey, all those guys. So it was good to get a lot of guys real reps. You know what I mean? Like in the second half, coming out of half.
Yes, a challenge, but it's more of an opportunity to grow. I feel like, throughout being here, you are told to be good at everything. That's why we are different than other universities, because our middles can play defense, our setters can play defense, they can set, they can block, everyone can do everything. And so learning how to take every opportunity as I'm getting better and I'm working towards my team, I think is more of the approach I take towards it. Yes, it's a challenge, obviously, but being able to, how can I benefit my team any way that I can, no matter if it's being a DS or being a 6 row or being a serving sub or whatever they need me to do. Every single one of us and I are ready to work for that. Yeah, and I mean, this happened 2 years ago, right? They had 4 freshmen, 5 freshmen that were playing, and they went to the national championship. So I feel like this is nothing new for Nebraska. Obviously, there's a sense of pride that those are my roommates and my classmates that I get to see every day. And, I bet our group chat's going to be bumping at the end of this, but it's just a sense of we all work hard to be here no matter the age, and we're pushing each other every day, as May said, again, freshman to senior, we're all just working to get better for each other.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Shotgun set, split backs, 2 wide left, Keelan Smith wide right. Snap to Lateef, handoff, Ives up the right side, hash marks. Quentin Ives on a career day is in for a Husker touchdown. Caps the drive to make it 51-7 Huskers, 4:01 third quarter.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Central Federal Credit Union. That's DBM Ravi, Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, reminding you, if you're driving this morning, eyes up, phones down, don't get distracted, eyes on the road. This message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Time to talk to our friend Sam McKewon from the Omaha World Herald. Sam, how are we this morning?
Hey, I'm great. How are you guys?
I'm good. Sam, this is back-to-back weeks I did not see you. It's probably a me thing, isn't it?
Oh, I know. I got there. I got to the stadium real late. Because son had youth soccer. So I didn't roll into that joint until I don't know 10:20, which is rare for me. I'll be there 3.5 hours early this week, but I figured we'd be okay on Saturday. So no, that's probably why last week, because I didn't hardly see anybody other than I got a couple of breakfast tacos. Before kickoff.
Did you like that? Did you like the?
It's okay.
I know. See, you guys. What is it?
It's okay.
Free. You guys are so naughty. Why did I'm like you guys? Oh, to a man, everybody said, "Well, it's better than Spring Hill Sweets," or "It's okay," or it's better than what we were getting.
Yeah, it's fine. Mm-hmm.
And it's free.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
I mean, dog crap in your neighbor's yard is free too. You're not going to eat it.
They had these.
No, it was better than that.
They had this nice fresh fruit, which I ended up putting in my club soda. They had, which by the way, the slice of watermelon is still in here.
Wash your cup, TV.
No, wash yours. They had, what else did they have? Bits of sausage, Sam, cheese, salsa.
Yeah.
And Sam, I don't know if you came back out or over at halftime, but the oatmeal raisin cookies made a return after being kicked out of the family last week.
Horrifying.
They did.
Whatever.
Yeah. No, it was good halftime spread too. So yeah, I've never, I don't know that I've ever had any complaints about the catering food. I think it's like you said, it's free, and it was good. Yeah, like it was there many years ago. This is like 10 years ago now. The Nebraska Beef Council used to sponsor one meal a year.
Yeah.
And that was always the best meal. So I don't know that they do that anymore. Well, they don't, because we haven't had steak. But they had one meal a year, and it was a steak, and that was great. That was probably the best meal that they've ever had up there. So I'm sure Aramark's doing a fine job, and it'll go well.
So Sam, I liken this to boxing, but I think it's like that as a fan in general. I said, I can't fix those. I said, usually I like to say, comparison is like the thief of joy. And my buddy was telling me this morning, he's like, hey, at my sermon on Sunday, it was right on point. It was there. You can't have judgment and joy can't coexist peacefully. And I'm like, you know what? That's like fans, right? We're constantly comparing and contrasting and judging. How did you keep yourself, or do you keep yourself from knowing what you see week to week and still know that Michigan is coming to town?
Well, I think that probably happened a lot less on Saturday, at least for me. I mean, I think you're kind of, both teams are playing in real time, basically side by side, and Michigan's playing a lot better on Saturday than they did against Oklahoma, and their interim coach had a reason for that. And so obviously there's time to think ahead, and I'm sure after that game was over, there were a number of players, and there may well have been starters on the bench in that second half. The game's already in hand. They're excited, for their teammates, but they might be glancing up at that score and seeing Michigan's going ahead 50-3 and 49-3. And okay, we know what's coming. And I think probably by the time everybody got to the locker room and everybody kind of had a moment there to celebrate that win, everybody's mind had moved forward. So now they get to just go ahead and prepare for that team and be ready for them. I'm sure they've been in the back of their minds for a couple of weeks. Although, I think there was certainly a lesson that Rhule wanted to get through in the Akron game, and wanted the team to really understand that it couldn't look ahead, or it had to stay really focused on that second half. And I thought he did a great job of delivering that home. And then I felt like on Saturday, they probably could have named the score there. Houston Christian was pretty banged up, and
they were dropping like flies, weren't they?
Yeah, you want to do right by those teams, and not overly, because that was their third game of the year. If that was the first game of the year, it's probably a little different. One of the things that people always overlook is that SEC teams tend to play FCS teams real late in the season, and that's the best time to play those teams because they're banged up and they really cannot compete with upper echelon SEC teams. They just can't. It's too hard in almost every case. Early in the season, it's a little easier for them, but I felt like as that game wore on, it was pretty clear that Houston Christian's lines really weren't going to be able to hold up, and I thought Nebraska did a nice job of continuing to play football, but not trying to get a bunch of guys hurt, because HCU, I'm sure, has designs on doing well in the Southland Conference and playing good football. So certainly that second half felt like more of a, not quite a spring game feel, but a little bit more of, okay, let's get this thing home without anybody getting too hurt.
Yeah.
And now they get to go play Michigan, and everybody's ready. I can just kind of tell just by Saturday and then what I suspect we're going to get this week. Everybody's going to be really ready to go for that game.
Sam, I got to be honest. I'm just telling you, all us old heads don't agree on everything, especially from 95 to 2025. But one thing to a man we all agreed on with Coach Rhule that resonated it in that halftime speech last week was he gave an example a legit example to what we always thought, right? When he said, they don't respect you. You need to make opponents say, we're not coming back to Lincoln. We used to always say, make the check not worth it, right? Like, I know, Sam, I'm just, this is just the realist in me, right? Like, this is how we thought. It motivated us. It kept us sharp to just bury teams that took the money. And we looked at it like they were sacrificing their players. So,
right.
I say all that to say that part, it doesn't bother me, because at some point I want somebody to not take the extra $200K to come here because they have their players' concern, their players' best interests. You know, like,
yes.
That's what I want to have happen ultimately is, yeah, we like the money, but we want to play the next week, right? Because that's how you know that you're back. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's what so I don't balk at being nice to anybody, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so many teams that'll pay what Big Ten and SEC teams will pay. So
yeah.
Some of these teams will be back. But now, all that said, the FCS teams Nebraska is going to play going forward are North Dakota, South Dakota State. Can't remember the other one. UNI. These teams are, in my opinion, better equipped to at least, handle the physicality of it. So I think Nebraska is going to be fine, and now they get to play a team that I think is an even match, and Nebraska might even be a little bit better team. We'll see.
We're talking with Sam McKewon from the Omaha World Herald. Sam, before we get on to Michigan here, I'm not like DB. I find a lot of joy in judgment. Was any part of you looking around this week around the world of college football, and you're like, ooh, some of those third, fourth, and fifth interceptions from DJ Lagway look pretty rough, and Arch Manning is playing an opponent that's probably not much better than Akron, and I would say certainly not better than Cincinnati, and he's on that took him to the fourth quarter to crack 100 yards.
Sam, I gotta cut him off. He spent 5 months. He dragged you into it too with the year 2 young quarterbacks, and why not Raiola?
Pretty good OC too.
I mean, it is, to his credit, it is amazing how the assumptions that were made about a lot of these second-year guys that didn't include Dylan just haven't come to fruition. Are you shocked? Because I am. I mean, Sellers has been pedestrian. Arch wins games and he gets criticized. Lagway's been awful.
Yeah.
Are you shocked?
I'm not terribly shocked about DJ Lagway. I mean, I don't think that he had the resume last year. He hadn't played nearly the teams that Nebraska had played with Raiola. I think that game was, that kid's trying to force some stuff and trying to win a game, and obviously making a number of mistakes. And some of that's on his coach. Some of that's got to be an understanding from the head man all the way down that, hey, until near the end of the game, hey, we only need 3 points to tie the game. Let's not get caught up in stats and doing this and that. Let's go win the football game. And I appreciated LSU's approach to how they were playing the game, and I still think Florida's probably a pretty good team, but I think they're playing a really good defense that also understands what to do. And I think Florida's got a really good defense. Obviously, they have a very good defense, and so they'll be in some games this season. But no, I mean, I think Raiola certainly was ahead of some of these players. I think some of the hype machine that exists is more related to the way that schools in the SEC get covered. And, Nebraska obviously has a large media contingent, but the Big Ten Network is not, and I'm not blaming the Big Ten Network here. I would say the Big Ten Network is pretty ecumenical, and they cover kind of everybody equally, and they don't try to hype a bunch of players up.
Right.
Ohio State and Michigan are exceptions to that rule, but
you know my joke, Sam, right? With the Big Ten, it's like they want to. When they went to 9 conference games and the TV revenue, I'm like, they have this great big socialism philosophy of we want everybody equal, but at the end of the day, they're the most capitalistic bunch. So that's why
it's like the NFL. They want parity. They want everybody to be good.
Weird, right? You want parity, and up until like 5-6 years ago, I always would say, like, at what cost? You aren't getting your teams into the title game. Like, at what cost are you willing to do this? But I mean,
right?
What do I know with conference expansion and more money? Because they appear to be pretty good at the top right now.
They do, and the pro markets in Big Ten are part of it too. Like if there was a team that was doing what Indiana did last year, it would have been an incredible story in the SEC because a lot of those schools don't have pro teams in them. But Indiana is the Colts and the Pacers and Notre Dame and all these other things. There's all these other teams that are there, and Big Ten Network is still pretty laser focused on Ohio State, Michigan, and again, they like to tell a bunch of stories. I always have this, I watch a lot of BTN in the winter because basketball is on there and a lot of Nebraska games, and it's always you can always tell how excited they are when like Michigan State women's basketball is beating Nebraska. So it's like, I don't really understand it. Michigan State's up by 11, It's like, okay. So you can tell there's times when they're excited about certain programs or coaches or, old school Big Ten programs. But a lot of it is just, Raiola just doesn't get that level of affectionate coverage nationwide because the SEC gets a lot of it. And, one of the best quarterbacks in the country is probably the guy at Cal right now.
As a pup, he's pretty sweet. He's nice. I told Ravi all week, right? We asked Brett Cianci, who we'll talk tomorrow. I'm like, that's the benchmark game for me in the Big Ten because I think Cal's going to win that game, and that was last Tuesday. And I don't know, Minnesota's still doing Minnesota things in the passing game too, and a young quarterback. But you kind of called that one when I said I was a little worried about them before the season started.
Yeah, we'll see how they play. Again, Nebraska has not won there in a long time. And Minnesota kind of lost the game because of the punt return. He fair caught a punt at the 2, and that turned into a touchdown drive once Minnesota punted. And then he misplayed a punt inside the 10. It rolled, and he tried to grab it, and he didn't grab it. And then California recovered. He happens to be maybe their best player on defense, but that's why special teams matter. The fair catch at the 2 was particularly egregious. It was ludicrous. He forgot where he was, obviously. And so, that stuff happens. That's why special teams is important. But, we'll see. And again, Nebraska's got its spotlight this week. They'll be on CBS. There are other games that are a big deal, but game day is going to Miami and Florida, and Miami's going to win that game. And so there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on Nebraska, Michigan. It'll be a big game, and it's an opportunity for Nebraska to say something about itself and Raiola.
I look like a real genius, guys, don't I? Harping on the fact that Underwood doesn't like to run, nor can he run. How about that?
He can run.
Oh, knock it off. We'll see. Oh, it was Central Michigan, right? Did you take a look at those starters? Let's cut it out there, Sam. So he can run.
He can run.
Sam, speaking of...
Yeah, he's a lot like Jaden Daniels. His game is not quite the same. But if people look at Jaden Daniels when he was at Arizona State, he didn't run that much either. He threw a lot for Herm Edwards, and then when he went to LSU, all of a sudden, he was running. And Bryce Underwood can run.
Might be the pokey factor. Take him out to the pokey.
It could be. Yeah, it could be. I think they probably all got together last week and said, whatever we did against Oklahoma, we're not doing again. We're going to turn the kid loose and let him make mistakes.
Yeah, he's going to take some shots this week. I can tell you that. Because
he is.
I do know Nebraska is well aware that was going to be an added dimension. The cat and mouse this week should be sensational.
It should. Michigan does a lot of they've diversified their offense a little bit with Chip Lindsey. A lot of eye candy, a lot of motion stuff, a lot of, what I suppose people call orbit motion, satellite motion, whatever you want to call it. A lot of pre-snap stuff. They're going to run some tempo at times, so they're willing to go fast. Underwood seems to be able to handle it. He's a pretty good passer in short range, which I actually think is important, because if you can't get going with a couple of completions, you're going to be in trouble against Nebraska. Nebraska, meanwhile, is going to counter with stuff that Michigan hasn't seen.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Oklahoma did some of that stuff. I'm sure Oklahoma did. Oklahoma's got stuff in its repertoire, but Nebraska's defense is probably about as good as Oklahoma's. Maybe not quite as good, but probably as good. And so it will be a cat and mouse game. Nebraska has to find a way to prevent big plays, so prevent the one big run, right? And Justice Haynes can break that.
Yeah, they better seek out some justice this week, because figure out where that guy is.
Yeah, he's a good player. And then on the flip side of the coin, Nebraska's got to protect Raiola. They have to protect him. If you get in a situation where, because if Dylan is looking at a six-man pressure, I think he can make a play that burns Michigan with that. But if Michigan brings 4 or they bring 5, Nebraska must protect him, because if you're only bringing 4 and you're throwing into coverage of 7, he's going to get sacked. Dylan does not really like throwing into traffic that much. Sometimes he will, but he doesn't take a ton of chances that way, and so he'll take a sack. And so you've got to protect him. And he's got to protect himself by getting out of mistakes every so often, or getting out of the pocket. But those are really important aspects of the game. And then, of course, special teams. I think what the teams do on the third phase may well determine the game. It's probably going to be a 3 to 7 point game, and it could swing on a special teams explosive play or a special teams mistake,
or not kicking the ball out of bounds or anything. Right? I mean,
right.
And I'm not saying that because they continue to kick the ball out of bounds. I'm saying it could be something that innocuous on the surface.
Yeah, it could, and it could. So we'll see. Obviously, they have many kickoff guys that can handle the duties. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, Michigan will play physical. They're not a finesse team. They're not as old or maybe as tough as they were the last couple of years on the lines. They lost a lot of guys, but they're still Michigan, and they will still play tough. And they have better quarterback play than they had last year. I mean, their quarterback play last year was the worst in the Big Ten and maybe the worst in the country. They're better than that this year, and they still won games last year that they shouldn't have won. They beat USC and Ohio State and Alabama with terrible quarterback play last year. So Michigan knows how to win playing left-handed. They're going to be a tough out on Saturday, but Nebraska's good enough to beat them for sure.
All right, so let me ask you this: relative to playing the long game in the Big Ten for status, the long game, will you learn more going forward from Nebraska, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, or Rutgers and Iowa? If you're playing the long game, Sam.
Yeah. Yep. That's a good question. I think that the flashpoint game is probably Illinois, Indiana, in part because it's really hard to know what Indiana is based on who they've played so far. Old Dominion, which did beat Virginia Tech, Kennesaw State, and then Indiana State. And
which
so
somebody
exactly.
up here called that Old Dominion game, by the way. But it was also the same
guy.
It was also the same guy that thought that Temple would be in the hunt, as would Richmond playing North Carolina. So you win some, you lose some, Sam.
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's a good team.
Yes,
and
they
I
are.
don't have great pleasure saying that. I grew up in Nebraska in the 80s. I don't have any there's people around here who have a really nostalgic feel for Oklahoma. I'm not one of those people.
I agree.
But they're a very good team. They're a very good team. And they're going to be hard to beat. And they have really hard schedule. But that's an example of a team that could go 9-3 and make the playoff, because everybody acknowledges that they're good, and they lost 3 games by a total of 15 points or something.
Let me give you another one
to watch.
Let me give you another one. It's flying under the radar, but I know you're a late night, one eye open guy. How about Sparty traveling to Los Angeles? Big number that SC's land. I don't know, man. Michigan State is well coached.
They're well coached. I think I think USC could drop 42 or 49.
Really?
And so I think I do. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yep, out there late. And again, the one thing about USC is they can run the ball if you want them to, and they kind of ran out the clock against Purdue, sort of. But they can throw it 50 times, and I don't know if Michigan State can handle that. They played okay against Boston College.
Well, Boston College doesn't appear to be very good. Do you see what they did?
Great.
You see what they did to Stanford? That was awful.
I did. Well, to be clear, Boston College can throw the ball though, and that's where I think Michigan State's going to struggle. Is I think they can't stop the pass, and so I think USC can score 42 or 49 on Michigan State, just throwing the ball for 400 yards.
Oh Lord.
Doesn't mean Michigan State can't score, 28 or 35. They might. I don't think they will. But that's part of it, is I think Michigan State's going to struggle to stop the pass. And when they come here to Lincoln, Nebraska's got to be ready to throw it, because I think their front line's pretty tough, and they'll stop the run a little bit. But I think Nebraska will be ready and equipped to throw the football against Michigan State. But it's possible they go out there and they take USC to the wire. I do think USC's a better team out there. They really struggle on the road. I mean, against Purdue, that was kind of a weird, loose game, but they didn't play very well. And USC does not play well on the road. They are much better out there on their home field, especially on offense. So I think that game will be 17-21 point spread. I'm probably going to pick Indiana. I don't have Indiana ranked in my AP top 25 based on their performance.
I'm going to get you out of here on that one too. So hold that thought. Finish on the AP the voting.
Well, I don't have them ranked in part because of the teams they played and some of the issues they've had in the red zone. But I think Indiana will beat Illinois. We'll see what happens. I don't know.
All right, let me.
But that's a big game. Yeah.
So. Let me give you. I'm going to put Georgia in here, and I know all of a sudden they can't get a stop, and they give up 3 play drives. But for the sake of the argument, I'm going to put Georgia in here. So there's Oregon, there's Ohio State, there's Penn State, there's Georgia. Maybe you still like Bama, like whomever you like in the top teams to maybe make a run at a title. Who do you feel you know the most about? Is it Penn State? Did we lose you, Sam?
Oh, okay. I thought he was just thinking really, really hard.
Who do you feel you know the most about?
Out of the top teams, so like national title contenders, it might be Penn State. I mean, that's kind of why I leaned on them early, because they had the most returning, which had a sense of who they were. I don't know, because I don't feel like I know Georgia. I don't totally trust Ohio State yet.
Me neither.
We have Sam back.
Okay. Hey, Sam.
Yes.
Last one. I appreciate you coming back. As a voter, of the top 8 or 9 teams that you feel like can make a run at winning a title, who do you think you know the most about?
Let's see. So I think the team that of that bunch that I feel like I know the best is Penn State. Now we don't know how they're going to interact. Well, they're going to play Oregon and Ohio State, and I think I know how those games are going to go, but I know the most about their rosters and the way they play and their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator because he was at Ohio State. So, I probably know the most about that team, and I would say that the team that's still, kind of an uncertainty to me is Oregon because of the variability of their playing, like what they did at home and then going and playing in a monsoon for a quarter and a weird environment at Northwestern. And so Oregon we'll learn a lot more about. We will not learn anything about Oregon this week when they play Oregon State. Poor Trent Bray, great guy, great coach. Obviously a tough situation there with their roster and whatever's going on. So we won't learn anything this week. We'll learn a lot about Oregon when they play Penn State out in Happy Valley. So those are probably the 2 teams I know the most and the least about. And then, the other teams that are in the mix there. I think it's wide open once it gets to the playoff structure, guys. I don't think that there's like the number one seed's going to roll and it's going to be easy. No way. I think it's wide open. And so if a 9-3 team makes it this year, they could win the whole thing. Like, this is a New York Giants 2007 kind of thing. Like, it's kind of wide open. There's a lot of teams that could make it to the final, and there's a lot of teams that could qualify for the playoff. I think parity is here, and it's great.
That's our guy, Sam McKewon. Sam, appreciate the time as always. Great stuff. We'll talk to you next week.
Take care.
Thanks, Sam.
That's Sam McKewon from the Omaha World Herald. That's an interesting question. I do think Penn State is probably who we know the most about.
I also think that's why you is there such a thing as the Royal U?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's why you people. I was gonna say you guys, but I didn't feel like after you lobbed me the bird, I didn't feel like talking to you anymore.
You need people like me.
I also feel like that's limiting why you like them, though.
Yeah, because I do feel like I know the most about them.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm burdened by the knowledge of it.
Yeah. I think you know what you're getting every single week, and we've seen it. Not overly sexy.
Mm-hmm.
They grime you. They grind you down. They end up winning by 30, and it's like, oh, that was okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it stymies your envisioning them raising a championship. Conversely, you look at a team like, this is a little bit of a reach, but you'll get the example.
Mm-hmm.
Florida State.
Sure.
And you're going to think, oh, man, they could be dangerous. They're talented here, and here.
Mm-hmm.
Need a little bit of it. So you allow your mind to
extrapolate.
Yep.
100%. That's a very good example.
So, I think you can almost know too much.
Absolutely. I mean, this was kind of my burden with Illinois coming into the year, right? We know a ton about Illinois. And I'm like, yeah, I think that's their ceiling, though, right? It's
only 4 as they go to Bloomington.
Yeah.
I think Illinois is pretty good.
I think Illinois wins that game.
Do you?
I disagree with you. I think Illinois wins that game.
So they're catching. So if you think they're going to win, you got to love it at the window. You're getting more than a key number.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh,
I think
it's early, man. You going to lock it up?
Yeah, I think so.
Like my Colts beating the Broncos.
I'm a little interested to
How
see.
sick are they, though?
Oh, it's disgusting.
Stop jumping over people's heads.
Don't do that. I do
watch the Steelers lose a game like that.
I do want to see if that number comes down to 3.5, I'll bet it right away. If it's like moving in the direction of,
you better get it now. It won't get more than 4.
Well, so that's kind of, if you don't think it'll get more than 4, then I will get it now. Because
I'll take it.
I don't. I think Illinois wins that game straight up. That's a W for Illinois. But you're right. The knowledge of Penn State does limit. I also don't think Illinois can win a national championship, right? But that we're kind of talking about a little bit different things there. I think they could make the playoff. I don't know if they will. If they beat Indiana, that's a pretty good step in that direction. But I look at Florida State's a really good example. Ohio State, we kind of have a certain expectation for what they'll end up being by the end of the year, right? I don't love the way it looks for LSU right now. I know the defense is really good, or might be really good. I also think DJ Lagway is playing pretty bad football right now, so that's part of it.
Of course you do.
I mean, not a lot of arguments against it at this point, but I don't totally know what to do with LSU. I think their offense is going to need better for me to actually think they can win a national title. And I just really don't know what to do with Miami because I don't know that I think Mario Cristobal is that good in game.
Listen, Miami might be pretty good.
They might be, yeah. But there is this thing of, again, I know too much about Mario Cristobal for me to feel good about that situation.
Well, if they lay the lumber to Florida, that's not going to move your needle.
No, it won't.
So when's the next one?
Let's look at their schedule. That's a good question.
Remember.
Well, they play Florida State the next week at Florida State, so that'll tell me.
So I told you, October 4th is the game.
Yeah, that'll tell me.
I think it's October 4th. Come on, DB.
It just says TBD. That doesn't make sense.
No, that means when it's going to be on television. The date is set.
Yeah, it's October 4th.
Let's go.
So they've got a bye
between. I use my left hand too, by the way. This is not Olympics.
Oh, okay.
And
that's not the Black Power hand.
No. Sorry to ruin your Black Panther party.
Sorry, I got in a fight in the Black Panther party.
So I ran, and I was running, and I got tired. I slept. Anyway,
yeah. So October 4th will tell me about Miami.
Okay.
And that's about the only one because the rest of the schedule is very
I have a question.
Navigable.
I want to go back to the original premise of knowing versus not knowing. You have no idea what you'd make the line today if Penn State played Miami because you don't know what Miami is, but you do know what Penn State is. And I think it's clouding your judgment.
Probably. Neutral site?
Yeah.
Gut says Penn State 2.5.
Like, that's crazy because you're waiting till October 4th.
For Miami, yeah.
But I bet you 90% of the people are in that similar ilk.
You think so?
Yeah, because I do.
I was wondering if other people thought more negatively about Penn State because, like, if they were higher on Miami because of.
I think we think here. I'll give you a better one, in a similar vein to Florida State, but we think they have better talent. How much do you feel like you know? Did you watch Northwestern in Oregon?
Yes.
How do you feel like? Do you feel good about Oregon?
No.
But you know they're super talented.
And my gut is to trust Lanning more than Cristobal, even though I don't have a great reason for it.
Hey, head-to-head against light competition, it's hard to say that, though.
Right. That's why I said, like, my gut says I like Lanning better, but the results are mixed at best. Right? So Oregon's a really good example. I would probably make Oregon a favorite over Penn State, and I don't know that I should.
Would Oregon be favored over Penn State?
I bet nationally they would. Like if you took a straw poll, I bet people would take Oregon over Penn State.
I would disagree.
You think so?
Yeah.
Should we put a poll up?
Well, who could answer?
All of Twitter.
What's that?
Sure.
You can still put polls on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Let's get that done. Let's take a quick break. We're gonna talk.
I agree with. Is it Dank or Dark? Shane, bold that for me.
That's Dank Coyote.
Dang. Does he mean Dank? I
don't know. I didn't know coyotes rolled like that. Maybe it's a South Dakota thing.
They might. I'm kind of with him, though. Beck's the key, and he's balling right now.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I liked Beck with Georgia last year.
I like how I had defended him for 2 years, and you kept telling me, well, I know you don't like Carson Beck as much as I do. I'm like, no, I like Carson Beck. Carson Beck just hasn't won anybody any games.
I like that he can bounce back when he goes through it.
He is resilient.
I like that about him.
He's super resilient.
More Hurrdat Sports Live coming up next. That was literally a gut feeling. Last night we talked about it as a staff, and I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. And then this morning I woke up and I was like, let's do it. And so we stuck with it. But again, just working to get every player ready for when their name is called. And there might be a stretch where we aren't making any subs here coming up. So I thought this was a great opportunity to get more people involved and see what they can do and get them comfortable for when they're needed, because there's going to be big moments that I believe we're going to need a good handful of players that aren't starters. I just think it gives them even more confidence that we trust them when you're like, hey, we're going with this. We're starting with this, and we're not going to just feel it out and get way ahead and then put you in. I think that's a way different vibe coming off the bench. This is more,
like it's on them to get it done and perform, and they're not leaning on the starters to get a big lead and then they can just coast it. So I thought it was good too. Like Grand Canyon played well, and we had to work through a few things, and they did.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Why now, when they're talking to you about, hey, we want to have you be the first ever sporting director in Union, Omaha, in the history of the franchise? Like, why now? Why was now the right time to need that position and to bring you on to do that?
You know, I think when a new club builds, they like to build slowly. And for the most part around the USL, you will see the head coach taking a lot of the sporting director roles, having to do the recruitment, all of the day-to-day stuff, as well as coaching the team and putting out a team that's got to be competitive. It gets to a point where the workload is a little bit too much. And to really progress, I think clubs, and you'll see more clubs doing this now, will hire a sporting director role to take a lot of that burden off the coach, where the sporting director can do the recruitment is a big part of it. They can handle the day-to-day stuff that is outside of the realm of coaching, and I think that's why at this point Union Omaha are ready to make that next step in bringing a sporting director on.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Don't forget, Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands is trying to get 60 men in 60 days to sign up to be mentors so that they can have their wait list greatly diminished. 70% of their wait list is waiting for a male mentor to connect with. It doesn't take a lot of time, just 4 hours a month to make a difference. The littlest moments can make the biggest impacts. Go check it out, bbbsmidlands.org. That's bbbsmidlands.org to learn more or sign up to be a mentor. DB.
Yes.
How we doing? We doing all right?
I mean,
we doing okay?
I mean,
maybe
there's a handful of things I would change about this show. Most of them are very, 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 very minor. Like no camera, darker lights. Small things.
Yeah, a little bit, whatever.
Who I work with, completely fine. Format, cool, whatever. The other thing is,
what's that?
I have got to inject a little confidence into our little pocket Hercules friend to play more snippets of music. I just want real music. It's a thing. It's always been a thing. And he's so terrified. And I get it. We got our wrists slapped over video content. It's fine. But music is fine. Music is fine. Everybody in the free world does it. Just give me 7-8 seconds. You've lived your whole life in 7-8 second increments. Why can't I have some joy? I'm not judging.
Yeah, but I've done that thousands of times.
Oh, I know you have. I know. That's why I never asked to borrow your phone. Yeah. Yep.
We're going to talk to Jessica Coody at 9 o'clock from Husker Radio Network. We'll talk to Brent Sobleski at 9:30.
Yep, it's exactly what I thought from my man Coyote.
NFL analyst for Bleacher Report, and Dan Rafael from Fight Freaks Unite on Substack.
I knew it. I knew it.
Well, where'd he go?
He's right here.
Yeah. Oh, he lives in Portland. That makes sense.
Hey, my boy.
That checks out.
Degenerate Aaron was like, man, I ain't heard Dank in a while.
I know.
I was like, oh, yes. Yeah. Okay.
Might be what's a term used in different communities.
Dude, our stream is wild.
No, we love our stream. They're great. Great guys, you know?
Oh, the shoe doctor's back.
Who's the shoe doctor?
Asian Joe.
Oh.
That dude's shoe game is off the chain.
I just saw Asian and assumed it was Wyatt. I didn't realize we had multiple.
Asian Joe is probably the OG.
Is he?
I mean, Asian Joe's a day oneer, Shane.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's been around for a minute.
He still fraternizes with the other establishment, though, so he may be pot committed there, which I get as a loyal soil guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say he doesn't.
I don't judge. He's a good dude, though.
But he doesn't ride with us like Wyatt does. Like we get way more of Wyatt.
Yeah. But his shoe game is incredible.
I mean, listen, I appreciate.
I
appreciate a good shoe game.
Yeah. He had some Hoya. He had the old school Hoyas a couple years ago.
Oh yeah.
Man, if they were like low tops, I'd be like, oh yeah. Good to see you, Asian Joe.
I like.
And there's Asian Wyatt. He said we're different.
Both tall,
but different.
It wasn't that. I just looked at the stream. I saw Asian. I didn't know we had two people self-identifying in the comments.
You are the guy that made the height joke last week.
I mean, huge upset. Honestly, just.
Can I ask why you lobbed me the bird though? I feel like that was unnecessary. We need to visit that.
That's fine. So you were looking at me with binoculars from 3 feet away during an interview. And I was trying to help you get them in focus by giving you something you focus on.
Okay.
I was trying to be helpful. Now, that
that's a prime that is a perfect example of riding with the story that supports your dysfunction. So you thought I couldn't focus from 2 feet away, so you gave me the middle finger?
No, yeah. You were telling me about how hard it is to get the binoculars.
Did you
to
try?
Work. No, yeah, it is difficult. I don't know how to do it.
And I just think I'm old enough to where I shouldn't have to give these to some, especially when it's my eyes. Like, shouldn't I be able to focus my own eyes?
I would think so, but binoculars are more challenging than people think.
So I gave them to Kyle in Kansas City. Mm-hmm. And he's a little spoiled because his are incredible.
Oh, he's got like the fancy ones?
Oh, they're sensational.
Yeah.
But he can talk and use them. So sometimes I want to practice. I'm like, how does he do that? I don't know. I can't.
You can't talk and use them?
No.
So you have to like watch the play and then do your commentary?
Yeah, and I don't really use these because they're not very good.
Mm.
But 2 weeks ago, I gave him to B Mac because he fixes everything. I mean, like everything. Yes, everything. Like, so I'm like, here, if anybody has the patience, it's Benny Mac. And he gave them back to me after like 3 minutes, and they were perfect.
Really?
But then I put them away in my bag, and I pulled them out.
They always get screwed up.
And I messed them up.
How can you not? This is, okay, binocular company people, hear me out. How is there not a way, and maybe there are on different versions, but I don't have a lot of binoculars. How is there not a way to like lock the setting in?
I don't know. There probably is, but
so that doesn't like slide as soon as you put it in
disclosure.
The little case there.
I just want you to know what that says on there.
I thought it was. That's what I thought I saw earlier. It's Big 12 conference.
Yeah. So these are unbelievably old.
I mean, I don't think the technology has changed that much.
And they're a gift, but
I mean, like glasses are largely the same.
Anything's got to be better than how I see.
Absolutely.
Hey, I'm tripping.
Ravi.
DB, you had to go. I'm going to reenact what DB did to look at a comment this morning. He had the glasses on. He was like, that's not going to do it. And then he does one of these. Oh, there it is. I mean, come on. What are we doing? I see this every day. Go to the eye doctor, man.
We're out here.
This is where the magic happens.
It's just not necessary. It's not.
It's not necessary, but it is fun. For me, at least.
Yeah. So anyway, we got a newbie. Dank. Coyote.
Listen, he's out there in Portland, and we're going.
And he's up early. It's going 6:50.
Listen, maybe he's on it. On
one. Well, but he did say Penn State's not overrated.
I don't think so. I think they are properly
could
rated.
Oregon be underrated? I don't know. I wouldn't fight him over that.
Oh, I forgot to put the poll up because I got distracted. We're going to put the poll up right now about whether or not people.
But when you watch college football, who are you like, ooh, damn?
For stretches, lots of teams. Over the whole course of a game or 3 games so far, not very many.
Yeah, because it's hard to stay on the gas every week. We've seen some of the scores fluctuate.
Yeah. I mean, I went through this last week where we're talking about a 27-14 for Indiana over Old Dominion. We saw it this week with a 34-14 with Oregon over Northwestern. What do we got?
I can't focus.
What happened?
Because Asian Joe's right.
DB out here holding iPad to the field and zooming you just – Is that a thing that's happened?
I don't even know how he knows that.
I'm guessing he's done that too. That's the only way you would know that.
So Courtney, we're going to talk to Jess, and she'll probably tell on me in some capacity if something stupid I do anyway.
Does.
So Courtney controls. He's the only one that knows how to really change the channels in there.
Oh yeah.
So there's 3 iPads because the studio is amazing, right? We got all this new equipment, and so I like to multitask. So Courtney handles the television for me, and his is on one and mine's on another. And I had to give in the other day and actually put the iPad on the game.
Oh,
which I don't like doing. I like
to
watch
see the TV.
Yes, I like to watch other things.
Bro, how do you drive?
I can see perfectly far away.
But the TV wasn't.
Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. Like Hurrdat won. That's somebody's jersey that's off to the side. It says 55, so I'm gonna assume it's Shireman.
It is Shireman.
I can see perfectly far away.
But the TVs aren't far enough away for you to tell, like for you to see them well. In the studio,
it just gets a little.
You should go to an eye doctor, man.
You go to an eye doctor.
I do all the time.
Oh, I don't.
I'm going a week from Monday. Because my eyes spontaneously bleed. That's a different story. No, I just I think
I don't appreciate that accent, Jackson.
I thought it was pretty funny. What about Asian Wyatt? Do you appreciate that one more?
What did he say?
He put in music notes like he's writing a jingle. He's the old DB who just can't see. I made up that tune myself. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah, I listened to some corny songs, but I don't think that's how that one went.
I was trying to. How do you think it would go? I was trying to go like.
I don't know. Would it be a little more contemporary?
I was trying to go with like a commercial jingle.
Yeah, I don't watch commercials.
Since we only got one line there, I didn't know if I could make a whole song out of it.
Did you like the production on Netflix?
I didn't think it was bad. I thought
I didn't either.
Some of the hosts were not super comfortable. Like, I'm not sure like Mario, there were some awkward pauses when he wasn't sure who he was throwing to and stuff like that.
Can I ask a fair question?
Yeah.
All right.
Why is Mario Lopez doing this?
Yes.
I thought the exact same thing.
Yes.
I was like, what? I get he has a podcast, I think, about fighting, but
we got Stank and Dank in the same chat. And Lord knows Dank can't stank. So there we go. But can you hit the Stank Nooner on some Dank? On the good Dank.
I mean, he's not like TJ Lateef, just stanky-legged people out there. Just be like, oh, see ya. Oh, see ya.
How much NIL is that guy going to get?
Oh, hopefully it's from Nebraska.
Yeah, they got a couple guys getting ready to go back to the table.
Hey, listen, renegotiate. That's what it's all about, baby. Get him on the.
What Coach Rhule slide in this morning? He said, hey, we're paying guys now, so.
There's pressure.
Listen, you think he's so good at that stuff.
I like the way
he let everybody know just by the way he phrased it.
So this is the thing that I really appreciate about him, and it's something I try and do. He's better at it than I am, which is probably true about most things. But
dirty fingers.
I thought you had your rubber gloves on. You need wipes too?
I can't activate my screen with my fingertips.
Gotcha. He is incredible at taking a negative way that people view things and just reframing the whole situation.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, hey, coach, I'm feeling a lot of what are we doing? What are we doing?
Cleaning out my bag. I'm looking for my glasses. I'm getting killed and I can't see, so I need to be able to read the comments, and I don't know where they are.
I mean, I can read them all for you if you want me to. No, but he goes, hey, like there's pressure. That's a problem. That's a thing that people are having a problem with, whatever. He's like, yeah, guess what? Is this your end goal? Is your end goal to play at Nebraska? And it's like, no, we're going to go play in the NFL, right? It's like, hey, you'd rather learn how to deal with pressure now at Nebraska than in the NFL. You lose your job, right? That's a different thing.
Or
right?
my favorite was when he said it on. Okay.
Your favorite was when he said what?
What stank? Would you knock it
No,
off?
lock in. Your favorite was when he said what? Lock in.
The pressure, it only gets.
Yeah.
It only mounts.
Well,
and it's not even gets worse. It only mounts.
Yeah, it increases, right? You're going to have pressures like, oh, now I got kids to provide for. I got a wife to provide for. I got whatever, right? It's the same thing.
I just think pressure is an absolute privilege.
It's the same thing he told Dylan in the recruiting process, right? Hey, you're going to get drafted by the worst team in the league. Learn how to turn somebody around now.
Or you could get hired to coach the Carolina Panthers.
Ooh, that's a good franchise. Jessica Coody coming up next here on Hurrdat Sports Live.
That was literally a gut feeling. Last night we talked about it as a staff, and I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. And then this morning I woke up and I was like, let's do it. And so we stuck with it. But again, just working to get every player ready for when their name is called. And there might be a stretch where we aren't making any subs here coming up. So I thought this was a great opportunity to get more people involved and see what they can do and get them comfortable for when they're needed, because there's going to be big moments that I believe we're going to need a good handful of players that aren't starters. I just think it gives them even more confidence that we trust them when you're like, hey, we're going with this. We're starting with this, and we're not going to just feel it out and get way ahead and then put you in. I think that's a way different vibe coming off the bench. This is more like it's on them to get it done and perform, and they're not leaning on the starters to get a big lead and then they can just coast it. So I thought it was good too. Like Grand Canyon played well, and we had to work through a few things, and they did.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you score on defense and, you make them punt that many times, I think that's excellent. We had some times where, we had some soft coverage and we gave up some throws. I don't know how many yards they ended up with passing. So we missed three weeks in a row of under 100 yards passing. Sierra did a great job moving into the slot and playing the nickel, which let Donnie and Marshall go outside and start. And then Jameer came in and played well. So I thought, for the most part, a lot of those things looked good. You hate the one long run. We had him tackled in the backfield and he reversed out. If the guys trust the things that we say, when we might say track the near hip, I might say that more than I say go big red. And we didn't track the near hip, and so we got burned on it. And so that'll teach us something. But I thought the guys came out. I'm sure there'll be lots of things, when you pick the film apart. But for where we were and for the opponent we played, I thought they played pretty well. Looked like we tackled pretty well. And we got to the quarterback today, which is good.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centrist Federal Credit Union. That's DBM Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined. Do we have Jess?
She's never late, I guarantee.
Oh, she's here.
Okay, I was just making sure. We got our friend Jessica Coody here from the Husker Radio Network. Jess, how are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Oh, there's my favorite bubbly disposition of this morning. Hi, Jess. How we doing?
Good. Been you'll be proud of me. I've been up since 6 a.m. this morning. Went on
Good
a
for you. You're all grown up.
walk. Went on a 45-minute walk with Sunny and
Oh, Lord.
did some prep. We got the TV show with Coach Rhule here coming up at 11.
So
you should just try and cold call him, see how that goes.
Well, I'll get to that in a sec. So we got to get back to this whole Sunny thing. I thought she doesn't get up until you get up.
She doesn't.
So she was interested in a walk that early?
Yeah, I mean, once I started getting up and realizing, but I've been better about. I feel like it's kind of going around, contagious around here. I've been better about getting up a little bit earlier. I mean, you called me at 8:30 on Friday. That was like the one day I slept in last week. But yeah, I've been trying to get up so I can take her on a long walk because she usually does better when she's exercised out in the morning. So.
Ravi officially chastised me because I think I texted you at like 7:48 and I said, you up? And like 50 minutes went by and you didn't answer. And I'm like, I don't think she's up. Because between the two of us and our listeners, we're like, gosh, we should just try to grab Jess impromptu. We did that to Coach Rhule this morning. And Ravi was like, well, it is her day off, like blah, blah, blah. And I was like, why are you riding with her? Like, you should be team DB. Like, who needs a day off? How'd your Friday end up going?
Oh gosh, that was so long ago. What did I even do on Friday? Oh, we had a couple meetings, but didn't have a show. So, but yeah, I tried to. Being that it was 11 a.m., I think I was in bed by like 7 p.m. Those 11 a.m.
Was that not crazy?
Tough.
They are, and it's. I know. Listen, and nobody's gonna like play the violin for me, but I'm thinking 7 a.m. show. I got on the interstate at 5:40. And, you know, it's a crapshoot on B-Mac's personality, but he's been holding it down pretty good. He came in with some jokes, so it, like, changed the whole dynamics. But those early mornings, man, those are not the best. It's good for the players, bad for us.
I'm pumped for this week because my favorite is the 2:30 games.
Oh, they're my least favorite.
Really?
You're dab smack in the middle of everything. You don't get the morning. You don't even get the night. It's like everything's shot.
Well, to me, a game day is all day anyways, but it's just a matter of, you don't have to get up at like 5 a.m. for a 2:30. You could still sleep in a little bit, but then you're still not so late where you can watch the night games, So 2:30 is my favorite.
I like it as for the players, for sure. I think it's ideal. For me, not so much. I got to ask you because I always tell people you're kind of our little cheat code. You know a lot of things before they actually happen because you're on the field. How cool, or maybe cool isn't the word, how much does it force you to be on top of it, knowing that anything can change during the course of a week with how competitive it is? Like, you're literally telling us in warm-ups things that no one would know because they're shuttling guys. Like it's competitive, right? They take it down to the wire to get what they want, and you usually keep us in the loop.
Yeah, and I think especially defensively, it's kind of what it's going to be. I think is there's going to be. I can tell you who's going to start, but there still might be, whatever, still 100 players that play. They shuffle them in and out so much that I can watch who's going to like Donovan Jones is going to be starting in place of Malcolm Hartzog, but like look how many guys they shuttled in and rotated in. I think that's going to continue to be what John Butler does. And so as much as and it's just funny watching Coach Braden, how he'll point like, okay, you two this time, like it's whoever starts, but then they like know the rotation. I've been really impressed, and I haven't been able to get this on the air, but just the way, because of how much they shuffle, especially the defensive line, the communication with Terry Braden and his guys, and just, guys knowing what their job is when it goes out there, being that it can be sometimes chaotic with what they're trying to do. It's really impressive of just how comfortable they are with what they know, what their role is any given defensive series. You know what I mean?
How close do you think, because a couple of those young offensive linemen that I really like Sledge and those guys, And you see them shuttle in a lot in warmups, and so I'm scrambling or KC. It's like, hey, who's with what? You're giving us like the rotation. How soon, or do you think that they'll do similar things with the offensive line as well?
I don't know. I think with Coach Raiola, once you get those 5 with the offensive line that are playing the best together, I think he likes to stick with it. Now, I do think there will be some times with Turner Corcoran that he's a guy that's battled through a lot, has played a lot of football, and they're finding ways to utilize him and knock on wood, hopefully there's not a single injury on the offensive line this year. But let's face it, when's the last time that there was a season? It hadn't been since I've been here that an offensive lineman hasn't been injured. This is, I think it's cool too, just to see. So Sam Sledge is the backup to Justin Evans, but when Grant Bricks is not in uniform, he slides over, he plays right guard. And so I think they've got a lot of guys. I think if Gunnar Gatula ever needed to slide back over to play right tackle, he could, that they've done a good job of cross-training those guys, that they're going to be able to utilize them. And I mean, the future is bright with that young group. I mean, I know that they've been really high on them. Coach Holgerson, Coach Raiola, going back to last year, especially when that bowl preparation, it's still not quite their time yet for some of those guys. I think they're still going to be utilized throughout this season. But I think just the way that they've been able to grow and develop and be behind some of these guys that have been around for so long, the future is really bright for that group. And the fact that they're pretty dang versatile, the fact that they can slide them around all over the line.
Jess, as you're kind of looking at the last couple games, especially, I mean, you've been here. This is your 4th year here?
Fifth season.
We're about the same time together, Ravi. Jeez.
This is your.
You beat me by half a year, right, Jess?
I thought
year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not.
So I'm the one that doesn't know math. But you're not surprised about that either, are you, Jess?
I don't know. The way you can call the numbers out on those touchdowns with the math, it's pretty impressive. I'm like, Kyle and I were talking last week. Does you think he goes through it throughout the week trying to figure out different scenarios of when he can pull out those math equations? Kyle was like, he's got to, right?
No, it's real time. They're single-digit integers. That's one thing I can handle. It's not too much. I can handle addition and subtraction. No double digits either, so I'm fine. Usually. Now, some of these receivers and tight ends, they start. I mean, Lindemeyer will be easy because it's a 4 and a 4. But if they're in the 80s, it may take me a while. I don't know.
Well, you got to think you might not have to have as many. I think maybe now moving forward, some of these games, maybe you will have a lot of guys contribute. I don't know. I think they're going to keep spreading the ball around. So you'll have, once you do it once or twice, though, you'll be able to go back to it, I guess.
Isn't that crazy how many guys they're willing? And it'll change a little, but not a ton. And I think even with Dylan, his ability to kind of find different guys within the same set of plays, for me, has been pretty impressive. You had the sit down with him, which was probably the longest Cornhusker interview I had to sit through, which is good for me.
I told Ben to trim it down, but I guess if he wanted to, but I guess it was QB1, so we were, and Houston Christian, so we rolled with it.
Yeah, and I mean, you've seen this start to finish. You talk to him all the time. Doesn't he just seem like everything slowed down? Like he's always been a pro's pro, but now we're kind of saying the practical application of it. 22 guys have caught 22 different targets in the first 2 weeks. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and Coach Rhule's been so complimentary of it, his willingness to do that. And I don't, when I talked to him about it last week, I don't even realize I threw the ball to that many guys. It's just he spent so much time with these guys, and cliche or not, he is dedicated to spending time to building that rapport, that it doesn't matter who's lining up where. Yeah. He trusts that whoever it is going to be in the right spot. And so he might not even know, that he's got 10 different guys that have caught a pass from him. He didn't even know that when I told him that, that how many different players had caught passes from him the first couple of games. And so I think which is hard to do. I mean, I've covered a lot of really elite quarterbacks, And there were times that, Baker Mayfield keyed in on one or two guys, especially that first season, that when the play broke down, I mean, you knew who he was trying to go to. Whereas I think Dylan has this bond and chemistry with so many different guys that he trusts so many different players to be in the right spot that I think it's absolutely genuine. And when I said earlier, I'm like, well, it might whittle down a little bit, but I don't think it will. I think we're going to continue to see a bunch of different guys score touchdowns throughout the rest of the season.
You saw the command and the respect they have of him. Even I can't even remember what the score was. It was early on the scramble drill when he jumped on QC on Quinn for, I don't know what exactly he wanted him to do on that route inside the 10-yard line, but the intensity didn't drop off either. Like he was pretty animate on where he wanted guys to be, which further lets me know he wasn't looking at the scoreboard either. He was thinking about execution.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, they're mowing. If you guys can hear the lawnmower going on behind me.
Doing that gated community.
Not quite. I think he was so impressive as a freshman last year with how he commanded things at times. You're like, God, that's a freshman. But it is night and day difference to the confidence that he has and just, and being okay with who he is and what it takes for this offense to be successful. I think he thought coming in, and that was one of the things we talked about last week when I chatted with him, that he had to do all these spectacular things. And he's realized this year, even at, just being a sophomore, that it doesn't require that this offense doesn't require him to throw 75-yard bombs down the field every time, or him to make all these. It just make it's like a broken record, but the routine plays are successful. And he has really, it's one thing to say it, but he really does own that and understand it. And so he's okay with, if we need to take 9 minutes off the clock and just do a 8-minute reception and then a 2-minute rush and, just keep moving the chains and staying ahead of the sticks. He's okay with that. So people can say whatever they want about, he's not being flashy enough. He doesn't care because he is now understands that the flashy doesn't always win. It's not required to win football games. And ultimately that's what Dylan Raiola wants to do more than anything, is win a bunch of football games.
Jess, how much of that do you think has to do with Dana Holgorsen and kind of not just the mindset that he's sort of instilled, as we hear hey, just make the routine play routine, but also just the confidence it's given Dylan to know that everybody is going to be in the right place and have that trust. And it probably could include Da'Keel Shorts in this question as well, with that trust built with the wide receivers. But how much of that has to do with kind of what you're talking about with Dylan's maturity, and how much of it has to do with the maturity of the offense as a whole under those two guys?
Yeah, and I think one thing that that Dana Holgorsen has always done too is he's had a bunch of different quarterbacks, but he's really good at figuring out what those quarterbacks are the most comfortable with and what they want to go to. So I think there's that. I think he's a year older and understands college football and the Big Ten. And then I think he also, going back to just spending the time with the guys, that he's got those relationships that I think it's a lot of different things that just come with time, that come with playing in your first season. The elite offensive coordinator that you have now calling plays for you, I think he feels really comfortable with that. And, that rapport and that conversation. I think he really trusts the guys that are protecting him this year. And he's the offensive line, it's a lot of different things I think that have gone into it. It's hard to point to just one thing, but I think there's definitely that rapport there and that trust with Dana Holgorsen that Coach Holgorsen understands Dylan very well too. And so a lot of different things that go into that. But I think also you can just point to being a sophomore and the confidence that come along with just time and playing football at this level and a bunch of football at this level.
When you're talking about, it's kind of interesting because, we took a shot, and I'm sure you're going to hear about it. And Coach was like, you got issues. Like, I'm just like, you know what? I was kind of tired of hearing about, the work versus play. And he's doing the McAfee show, and he has a podcast, and he was at boxing. And then he was the first one back on IG, with the guys that he was in the office Sunday morning. And I'm like, I guarantee you he's out doing something productive right now. And so I had Shane, I'm like, let's just call him on a humbug. And he answered, and he's like, he's out. Okay, you'll get this because you know him. So he's breathing heavy, and he's like, man, you got issues. And I was like, well, what are you doing? He goes, I'm out walking barefoot. I'm getting in touch with the earth. And I'm like, normally I would have snapped back with some sort of funny joke, but he's not. How are you parsing through his quirkiness, but he's so authentic, he makes it believable with whatever it is that he's saying. Like, his personality has been something, and it looks like his stamp is all over this program early.
Yeah, and I was out, especially during fall camp when we go out to practice and they practice early. He's out there walking. So it's not just like a one-time thing. He does that. He walks barefoot out there on the field, and it's great grass. I mean, obviously we've heard him talk about that. So it's good grass to get your feet on out there on the practice fields. But I think there's no doubt he's having more fun, I think, than he probably ever has in his coaching career. I think this group has allowed that. I think he's, just with the changes he's made, he's talked a lot about it, working out in the morning and just some of those things that he's tweaked that have made him feel better. But, people can say whatever they want, but this is the age of college football where you have to get your brand out there. And those guys on those major programs like Pat McAfee, Bussin' with the Boys, they're, some of the top podcasts in the country. And the fact that they don't just, hey, reach out. Hey, they want Coach Rhule on there because he is entertaining and he is something that obviously their viewers and their listeners that are not just Nebraska fans keep coming back for. And so I think the way that he has been able to tap into utilizing the brand, how good he is at this too, the fact that he keeps getting requests to do it. And then just understanding that it all comes for full circle right now with getting the brand out there and having it represented at the biggest and best. And I could tell you, I went up there on Sunday morning, and yeah, the whole team was up there. Coach Rhule was up there. He was already doing stuff.
What were you doing out of bed?
Well, I was, we were interviewing, I'm helping Steven out, who's awesome, the new video guy, the new director of social media for Husker football, the creative director, Steven Gonzalez. And he's putting together these features every single week. And so last week it was on Luke Lindenmeyer and getting engaged. The week before was on Sierra Wright. Before that it was Archie. This week we're doing one on Emmett Johnson, and it's talk about a story. And so we interviewed Emmett's family yesterday morning, and it was supposed to be at one time, and then Steven had to push it back because he had other things that he was doing, for Coach Rhule, who was up and at it and ready to go on a Sunday morning. So I don't think the lack of sleep going to Vegas, in fact, it probably gave him a bunch of energy coming off that and getting right to it. He had all these ideas, I think, on Sunday morning and things that he wanted to get accomplished. So I can attest to that. I think there's, and he's got a pretty sweet setup. You've seen it in his, on his podcast that I think it's pretty comfortable too, if he has to spend a lot of time there. So yeah, I think he's having a lot of fun. And I mean, they're at this point, they're getting the job done. Right. And so it's part of college football now and age. I know that people want to say, oh, he should coach more football, but it's where we're at now. You've got to, in order to continue to grow the brand and get the best of the best and the players and all of that. I mean, it requires that. And I think he's having fun with it, but it's not causing him to, miss out on anything that he needs to do coaching. In fact, I think it continues to help him because I think he's just embracing it in a way. And there's no doubt he's having a lot of fun right now. So
one of the things I like about you guys is, you've been other places and other successful programs, but I can tell with you and certainly with him and I think Casey's going to get here the longer he is. You guys actually grow to love this place where, we really like you. I know you really like Nebraska. You defend it. You just do. And he loves Nebraska. And he said something this morning, Jess, that kind of resonated with me. Along those lines, he said, I'm at the Crawford fight and all these guys are wearing Nebraska gear. And he goes, I have to be a part of that. I need to be a part of that. I love this place. People need to understand that this is Nebraska. And he's been like that almost from the jump. which is what drew me to him. I told you this. It's like he thinks as much of this place as anybody that I've ever been around. So I'm going to ride with that guy, right? Like your connection with the fans and how much you appreciate, how much they appreciate you. Like that resonates when you do your job. That's going to continue to be important to him. So we got to just probably get used to that, right? Like that's going to be who he is because of how he thinks about the state of Nebraska. He's not interested in being anyplace else. Like he is present in the moment right now.
Yeah. And I think once he gets out there and it's hard not to, Nebraska's got a huge following and a huge brand, but then I think, the more that he puts it out there and, DB, you were in that meeting this summer when we had Kyle in, and he had talked about how he wants to grow his players' brands. That's part of these features that we're doing every week with these players. That's important to him. So it's not just even about him in Nebraska. He also wants to get his guys out there and help them grow their brand, and in more ways than not, and in more ways than just, hey, NIL money. I mean, there's if you get a guy out there and that he's doing things the right way and that Coach Rhule vouches for him, there a lot of times if he's on the fringe of getting drafted or not, or making a roster or not at the next level, they're going to take a chance on a guy like that because of being at Nebraska and being with Coach Rhule and his brand and just the confidence that I think the guys at that next level have and these players. So it's not just even about him personally or Nebraska. If it was just about him personally, I don't think he'd be doing all of this. There's a bigger purpose to why he's doing all of it, but he's pretty dang good at it. And there's so much. People just think, oh, he's just decided to do a podcast. There's so many. The way his mind works is just fascinating, and there's always multiple layers and reasons behind the things that he does and every single thing that he does.
That's crazy. And you try to, I love the fact that because when it's me, it's like, oh, you just like him and blah. I'm like, no, fascinating is a great word. He thinks of a lot of things that we don't think, that we see. You talked about the meeting. He walked in there impromptu, right? Wasn't even going to come over, and he could hold court for 15 minutes on the ideas that he has on how the network and the university could coexist. It's just like you want to be around people like that. And I think now what we're seeing, when those guys receive instruction from him, the players, like they're all the way in because they trust him, right? It's not just he's a big idea guy. It's like they're starting to see tangible proof that he knows what he's talking about.
And listen, I have a perspective of it more than just Nebraska. I sat there on the opposite sideline at Oklahoma and watched it unfold from year 1 to year 3 with Matt Rhule. And even though things have maybe changed, he's evolved a little bit. The core principles of how he builds a program and getting guys to buy in and that toughness and just again, going back to that halftime speech last week about there's this toughness mentality, that he's able to instill, and it doesn't happen overnight. That's something that takes time to develop. And once he gets there, those teams are different. And I can tell you, I saw it at Baylor, and that's why I was so fired up, DB. You know that when this coaching change happened, he was my number one because I saw it, and I thought that would be that kind of culture, that what he instilled at Baylor would work very well here at Nebraska. And you're starting to see that. And even though he might go about it a little bit differently in terms of, he's out there a little bit more with the podcast, and it's a different kind of program, being that it's a national brand, at the core and the heart of all of it is really who Matt Rhule is. And you're starting to see all of that come to fruition here in year 3, which is it just takes that time to be able to get the players to trust him, to know that what he's doing works. And then they're all in, and then then they're running it themselves a lot of times. Those older defensive backs, they're pretty great in how they continue to deliver the messaging and communicate on the sideline. And so it takes time, but it's ultimately, there's a reason why it continues to work. And while it might look a little different, it's still at the core is who Matt Rhule really is and why it works, why his system works.
If we're still friends at the end of the season and colleagues, I'm going to share that story, how you pegged him early in that process and why you liked him coming from Baylor. I haven't even shared kind of why you thought that this would work. But lastly, Shane, kill the music just for a sec, because this is interesting, because we haven't had a way to bring this on air, really. You're always so close to the action, and you can hear what these coaches are saying. And special teams is going to be big on Saturday. Special teams getting better was big this season. Can you give us some insight on the not tenacity, just the intensity, what you hear every week with Coach Eckler coaching these guys up on just being excellent all the time? Like, I'm fascinated because I can hear it in your mic, and we haven't had a chance to really bring it to the air yet, but you got to give us a little snapshot of Coach Eck, because I think special teams will be huge this week.
Yeah, and hey, the standard is standard. And that's one thing that you saw on Saturday, that despite it being what was it at the hat, like 45-0, if the things weren't being done right on kickoff and kickoff return and what they were doing, I mean, he's communicating that it's not good enough. And, with the way I've seen a difference this year, just, because they have the iPads that they can immediately pull to and pull different angles of the plays. And so if there was something that happened bad on special teams last year, it might be like the kicker, the punter, the holder that are going back and looking at it. But I've recognized and noticed that it's like after every single play, it's not just the kickers and the specialists, it's the entire unit going over things, whether it's good, bad, or whatever. They're going back and reevaluating what they did too. It's like the offense, defense does that, but now the special teams are doing that too. And Coach Eckler he is everything that everybody says about him. I mean, he's intense. He has high standards. He has expectations. And when things are not done up to that standard, he sure as heck lets them know about it. But he's also like the biggest cheerleader when things do go right and when they do what they're supposed to do. And so you certainly understand, just watching him on the sideline, why he is so loved by these guys, because he does. It's the same thing, a lot like what Coach Rhule does. I mean, he's going to celebrate them, but he's also going to let them know, that, being tough with love. And if you aren't doing what I think you are capable of doing, I'm going to hold you to that standard. I'm going to let you know that I expect more from you. And the guys really appreciate that. And it's, even for a guy like Carter Nelson, who is a 5-star coming in, number 1 recruit in the state. And while he hasn't necessarily been a guy that they've gone to in the offense as much, to see the pride he takes on special teams and some of those other guys, there's obviously a buy-in there. And it's been really cool to see how that is attacked on the sidelines this year. There's no doubt in my mind, special teams are going to continue to be a big factor, and in a good way, because of Mike Eckler.
Good point on Carter. That's a good point. And by the way, what was the name of that game that Zoe was beating you in? Because yeah, that's it. Okay. She wants me to get that game, and you're gonna have to tell me how to play it before
you just stick the sticks in there, and then you put the marbles on top of the sticks, and then you pull it out one at a time. And
it's not that easy. You see, she's competitive, and she's kind of a brat about it. I'm not going to lose to a 7-year-old. I'm just telling you.
Wonder where she gets it. That's Jessica Coody, Husker Radio Network. Jess, appreciate the time. As always, we'll talk to you again soon.
That's your doing, Jess. You created a monster.
Yeah, I'm sure it's.
I love it. She's my girl, man.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Jess. We will be right back with Brent Sobleski from Bleacher Report. But real quick, I got to tell you about our friends over at Dingman's Collision Center. Make sure you get out to dingmans.com if you've got an issue that needs an auto repair specialist. They've got the latest technologies that they've invested in to make sure that they can get you back on the road and have your vehicle right back up to better than new quality. Make sure you check them out, dingmans.com. They've got 4 great Omaha area locations. Brent Sobleski coming up next here on Hurrdat Sports Live.
A successful financial future is built one coin at a time. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned saver, we've got the financial resources and team of experts who will be with you every step of the way. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Yeah, I mean, I legitimately go into every game like it's going to be a war. I think when you do that, you don't ever get in there and say, "Oh shoot, I wasn't ready for a fist fight." So I was ready for a fist fight. But that being said, I'm happy that we were able to play those guys and then get to the half. We scored 38 points. Just not happy with the last drive on defense and the last drive on offense, the 2-minute drive, and that is something that we're going to need is the 2-minute offense. So we'll have to go back and look at that. But I thought beyond that, we were extremely efficient and tackled well. Looked like we were physical. We played the 2 defense and this the second to last drive on defense. Put the whole group in, so we were able to get them in early, and that was really just as much just the heat, and we have good players on that group, so we need to get them to play. So a lot of guys got to play a lot of snaps. TJ Lateef, I think that's a golden day for him, right? To be able to play that many snaps. Cortez Mills to make that big play, catch those many balls. Isaiah Mosey, all those guys. So. It was good to get a lot of guys real reps, like in the second half, coming out of the half.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Can't take a second, he won't! He'll run right down the middle inside the 30 to try and win this thriller. Aubrey got it into overtime and now wins it. What a ball game. Cowboys in OT. 361. This is 42. The upright. No good. Colts have held. They get the ball. Push, Hurts forward. He's got the first down. And the Eagles are going to win this game.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DBM Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, and we are joined now by Brent Sobleski. He's an NFL analyst for Bleacher Report. Brent, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. I'm probably feeling better than Joe Burrow this morning, but alas, unfortunately, Cincinnati Bengals have to deal with that again for not protecting their quarterback. But that's neither here nor there to start this morning.
B, I'm in my own feelings over not being able to field a kickoff for the Steelers. I'm going to start there just because I'm a Steelers honk, and I'm trying my best to cheer for Aaron Rodgers, even though I've never liked him. But can I take some solace in the fact that I actually do think, regardless of the dumb stuff that Pittsburgh did, I do think Seattle will be more than formidable in that division.
Agreed. And I think what we're seeing, at least early in this season, albeit it's only a 2-game sample, is maybe there's a few teams a little better than we expected. Seahawks definitely being among those, Colts as well. And losing to them in that situation, I don't think is difficult because, look, we're all going to bury Caleb Johnson this week, and he made a monster mental mistake, right? But he was never a regular kick returner, in college. The rules are different, so if the ball goes into the end zone in college, it's a touchback. So I understand where the mistake happened. It just was such a critical moment in that game and it's so unlikely in any other contest. It's hard to look at that and say to yourself, okay, the Steelers stink and they're just making bad decisions. No, it was just an aberration of a young player didn't quite understand the situation he was in. And obviously that's what the play that turned that game on its head for Pittsburgh at least.
Brent, as you're kind of looking around the league, you mentioned, hey, maybe there's a couple teams that are a little bit better than we thought they were. I'm guessing there's probably a few teams that you think are a little bit worse than we thought they were. What do you do just 2 weeks in with some of the teams that you're like, man, I thought they might be good, and it's looking much, much worse than I think. Like, I assume we're not at panic button hitting mode yet.
Chicago, you might be.
But like, how close are you to like hovering your finger over that button?
In a couple situations, pretty quickly, because Miami Dolphins being the prime example. Like this team is falling apart in front of our eyes, and it's not fun to watch.
You didn't think they'd be good though, right?
Not
this bad, but
relative to how
exactly.
they're
That's the way
playing,
to
they're
put it.
atrocious.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be the worst team in the
Exactly.
NFL this year, right? Like this is awful.
They're still the Saints.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, it's still but you're absolutely right. It was one of those things where, well, they could be mediocre. They've been mediocre a few years. You still have Tua, you still have Tyreek, you still have Jalen Waddle. You invested a little bit in that offensive line. But this team, it looks completely unprepared and appears to need a complete rebuild to the point where maybe in the long term, it's not just McCarthy that goes, but you start considering a new quarterback as well. So that's the one that really has me absolutely frightened for their situation moving forward. The other one that I want to mention, not because there were high expectations there either, but the Cleveland Browns. And the reason why is this is a team internally that actually expected to win.
Mm-hmm.
I think most of us thought that was maybe a little too much. But when you bring back a 40-year-old Joe Flacco, never really have an open quarterback competition despite drafting 2 quarterbacks, and then start 0-2 with the 40-year-old not helping you win games, where does that place you as an organization, right?
Yeah, they're in trouble.
How long does it take till we see Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders as actual starters in preparing for the future? So that's another situation where you may see it implode sooner rather than later. Let me give you a stat on that real quick, because I think most people consider Kevin Stefanski a pretty good coach and Andrew Berry a solid GM, despite the decisions the organizations have made.
That's what people keep telling me.
Yeah, exactly. But do you know what their record is since the calendar turned to 2024?
Very bad.
3-18.
Wow,
that's hard to do.
And you're talking about a coach of the year.
Awful. Yeah.
People keep telling me he's a good coach. I don't know.
Yeah,
You're feeding his fire because he's been hammering him for 2 years.
Well, you know what bothers me about watching it? I'm in Ohio, so I see a lot of Browns and I see a lot of Steelers since I'm on the east side of the state. There's so many pre-snap penalties and just poor decision-making from players, from a coaching staff that's supposed to be good, and you don't have it prepared properly. So I think that feeds into it a little bit as well, and anyone who's watched him can attest to those things. So to me, those are the 2 organizations through 2 weeks where you're like, okay, the red light is flashing, and maybe it's time to push that button here sooner rather than later.
Okay, so real quick, give me one team that you actually thought might be good that you're starting to worry about.
Oh, okay. That's a difficult one. You caught me off guard a little bit. Looking at it, well, clearly the Chiefs at 0-2, right? I mean, I understand.
Some people predicted that, though. You know, it's a tough schedule.
It is, and you're absolutely right in that regard. But at the same time, if you're supposed to be the standard bearer for the NFL, and that's essentially what the Chiefs have been for a decade now or close to it, you should be able to rise to the occasion, even against top competition. We've seen them do it time after time after time. And some of the concerns are where they addressed it, right? The offensive line still, while is younger, a little more talented, and God bless Josh Simmons for running down that interception the other day. That was amazing. But at the same time, it's still taking time to get Patrick Mahomes completely protected, still taking time for him to adjust to the wide receivers they have now. I mean, his number 1 target right now is Marquise Brown. And as much as I like Marquise as a player, I don't think he's a wide receiver 1 in the NFL. So it's just that adjustment that you're trying to make, not to mention you're dealing with Travis Kelce getting older at this point. What is he, 35 now at this juncture? So,
and then he had nerve enough to be mad over the way he was playing. Like, make it make sense. Like,
I mean, I'm going to need him not to hand an interception over at the goal line. That'd be terrific. Like, I don't think that is
like make it make sense.
That doesn't have much to do with being 35. Like, come on, bud.
Well, touche. But at the same time, it's just like, you know, do you remember the old saying, any guys that are probably my age in your 30s and 40s, you never bet against Brett Favre, or then you never bet against Tom Brady. Well, we never bet against Patrick Mahomes.
Agreed.
Well, right now, if you're betting against him, you'd be doing pretty well. So I think we're kind of getting to that stage of his career where our expectations aren't reflected in what they actually are as a team.
Let me ask you something. And full disclosure, I want to be right. So I'm going to try to not ask a leading question. 2 teams I thought would be pretty good, but did not want to. I was afraid to have them win their division because of who's in their division. I said the Daniel Jones signing was quietly going to be one of the better signings in the NFL, but I did not want to propel them over the Texans. And I said the Atlanta Falcons are really, really good, but the Bucs could be in the Super Bowl. Atlanta could easily be 2-0. But of those two teams, who's closer to an upward ascension, in your opinion, this early in the NFL?
I will say the Colts simply because of their division, right?
Yeah, who's going to win that damn thing?
Exactly. I don't think the Texans have it figured out yet, specifically along their offensive line. I mean, they were starting four new starters, and even though they brought in veterans, that takes time. I mean, C.J. Stroud. We'll see tonight how they perform again.
They'll win tonight. They'll win tonight.
Yeah, I think they're a good team and they have talent, and I really like D'Amico Ryans as a coach. I think he's really good at what he does. But at the same time, what we're seeing with Indianapolis, even if you thought they could be good, no one expected this, right? Let me give you two stats right off the top, right off the top here. They now lead the NFL in EPA per drive and success rate offensively. You know, just like we all thought with Daniel Jones leading the way.
Ravi, I need you to ride for me here.
You did. You said you thought it was a good pickup. You did.
I'm telling you, all offseason, I said, I'm telling you guys, this isn't coaching, so this isn't Cohen, this isn't Ben Johnson. I said, of the off the grid moves, Daniel Jones going to the Colts will be the one that will age the best. Now, he is Daniel Jones, and so inevitably he's probably going to wet the bed.
He's going to come back to earth at some point.
But I kind of like him with Steichen. I just do.
I just like that it makes me super right about Anthony Richardson, so I'm good.
No, I fully see your point. But what I'm trying to say is there's no one in their right mind who would think offensively they would have the highest scoring conversion rate in the NFL since at least 1980.
Yeah.
I mean, this is unreal what they're doing.
There you go, providing perspective. Come on.
Damn you and your
get
statistics.
Your point, though, because you're not asking Jones, right, to be a top 6 pick in Indianapolis. You just want him to orchestrate the offense, to be the smart guy that he is, to understand pre- and post-snap reads, to put the ball where it needs to be, because they have talent. They're right. Jonathan Taylor currently leads the NFL in rushing yardage. You bring in Tyler Warren, who already looks like a stud tight end. You had good wide receivers with Josh Downs, Michael Pittman Jr., and Alec Pierce, and that offensive line has been good for multiple years, even though they lost Ryan Kelly and Will Fries this offseason. So with that said, you just needed a quarterback that could work through Shane Steichen's system, who, by the way, was voted top 10 recently. I think it was an Athletic article for one of the best play callers in the NFL by his peers. So that the pieces were there. They just need a consistency of quarterback. Now, will we continue to get that level of consistency with Daniel Jones? Probably not. But as long as he's good enough, that team can compete for a division title. Unlike, say, Atlanta, who has more overall talent because they've accumulated it over multiple years, but you're stuck in a division where Tampa Bay is really good. And that, to me, that's the differentiation.
Last one from me here, up against the clock. Long-term play, you got to push your chips in. We were quick to jump on the Daniels bandwagon and, let's hold on Love. All chips, one quarterback. You taking Jaden Daniels or Jordan Love?
Wait, is it just the quarterback straight?
Yep,
or do I get everything around them?
Nope, just the quarterback play. So you don't get the Commanders' defense, and you don't get Green Bay's defense.
Okay, all right. Because if I got Green Bay's defense, it's all in with Jordan Love. But I would still stick with Jaden Daniels. I think he has that talent there. And look, yes, I really do. I think he could be special, younger, clearly more athletic. But at the same time, I think we'll still see improvement because it's hard to really look at anyone right now against that Green Bay defense and say, you know what, he really wasn't that good. Well, maybe that defense is really that good unto itself, and I think it is.
That's Brent Sobleski from Bleacher Report.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much for joining us. Great stuff as always. Let's talk again soon.
Thanks, guys. You have a good one.
Thanks, B.
That is Brent Sobleski from the Bleacher Report. Coming up next here in just a moment, we're going to talk
You want to go right to him, Shane, or no?
Yeah, why don't you give him a call while I do this read, Shane? We're going to talk to Dan Rafael.
I got your back.
Appreciate you. From Fight Freaks Unite on Substack. But in the meantime, if you're one of those weirdos like me that likes to look at Zillow all the time for no good reason, maybe there actually needs to be a good reason at some point. And if there is, go get your mortgage checked out through Centris Federal Credit Union. Whether it's an FHA, a VA, a standard mortgage, whatever it is, they've got the experts to get you the mortgage you need with great rates and even better expertise. Go to centrisfcu.org to learn more today, get connected with an expert, and apply for a pre-approval. Terms and conditions apply, federally insured by NCUA, and an equal housing lender. As there's a lot of stuff we didn't get to today because it's a super busy weekend. But
we're unusually guest heavy for a Monday.
We are unusually,
but we had some good ones.
We did, and we had to get some stuff in. I'm super glad that
it's not like we plan on Coach Rhule either.
Yeah, that one was a little bit of a wild card, but obviously we'll talk to Coach Rhule anytime he picks up the phone. Also, really appreciate Dan joining us again this morning to go over this fight because there's been. I haven't stopped thinking about it all weekend. I'm sure Dan Rafael from Fight Freaks Unite hasn't either. Dan, how are we doing this morning?
I'm a little tired, to be honest. It's been a long week and traveled back yesterday, but gotta talk about the fight. So I'm up for it.
Listen, it was the first choice for us to bring guys back to talk to. And I get it. I'm a little bit of a fanboy as a boxing historian, Dan, but you further convinced me that I kind of know what I'm talking about when I like guys that cover boxing. Just the thoughtfulness, the presser. I know Terence really, really well, and the way that he listens to your questions, the way that he addresses your questions lets me know that he respects you too, man. I felt like you handled it. Would have been easy to approach that presser from a lot of different angles, man. Class act as always. So I appreciate you joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. I've been covering Terence Crawford from not day one in terms of his professional career, but pretty much once, I don't know, I forget what it was. Maybe it was like 5-6-0. He signed with Top Rank. I had known his, manager, Cameron Duncan, for many years. Cameron passed away about a year or so ago.
Yep.
And when he signed him, and Cameron was like a lot of people in boxing, they like to inflate the truth perhaps a little bit, exaggerate, but he always steadfastly talked about the talent of Terence Crawford. And so I was watching him on these undercards, but he hadn't gotten to the point where Top Rank was putting him on television. And at that time, there wasn't outlets like a DAZN or ESPN Plus or what have you that they would show the entire undercard. So unless you were there in the building, you wouldn't necessarily see the guy fight because he wasn't part of any broadcast. But when they put him on HBO for the very first time, if I recall correctly, the opponent for the other fighter had dropped out on short notice, and Terence was on the undercard. And they moved him up to the HBO position on the card. And so I ended up doing an interview with him and wrote about that switch to get into this big position. And from, that was, how many years ago was that? I don't even know. It's a long time ago. My point is I've been interviewing and attending Crawford's fights and writing and opining and everything about him for as long as anybody, I guess, that's maybe not from Omaha. And, to be honest with you, Crawford and I, we've had a few ups and downs.
Yeah.
But he's always been a cool guy with me. No problem.
So that, again, I'm glad you said it because I'm well aware, right? There's been some back, and he's not always great about getting back to people, and he can be very he can stand his ground, right? But when you
by the way.
Well, that's kind of what you're known for, right?
We'll go watch some YouTube clips of me and Adrian Broner going on.
Listen, I remember. So this was like 13 or 14. You and I were talking about why Hopkins. I'm a big Hopkins guy, and we were on air and we were talking about the promotions and kind of doing it his own way. And I remember even that got intense. And I'm like, wait a minute, I think we both like Hopkins. Why are we arguing? But it's just one of the things that I've appreciated.
But by the way, Bernard once went like 4 years without speaking to me. And you know what? I was fine with that because I didn't want to speak to him either. And now, fast forward all these years later, Bernard Hopkins is one of the boxers in the sport, retired or otherwise, who I still have a relationship with. Bernard and I text each other. We talk about our families. When I see him at fights, we don't even talk boxing. We talk about our families and politics and other sports. And, so I have a very close relationship with Bernard compared to other boxers I've covered. But we had a lot of ups and downs.
Listen,
for the game.
I took umbrage with the scoring, right? I didn't love it. I'll take a win as a win, but there's this part of me that wants people to know how dominant Bud truly is. That's why I loved your questioning with all the accolades, and Bud's like all of them, because it took 90 seconds just to read the accolades that he's accomplished. But when you looked at the scoring, do you care how it ended up versus how we'll remember Crawford? Because I think they should be one and same, but 115, 113 to me seemed criminal.
Well, then I'm going to jail because that's how I had it. I think people are losing their minds over this. This was a close fight. I mean, that's me. I don't know if people were persuaded by the broadcast announce team how they were scoring it. Now, I was not privy to that live because I'm in the stadium and I'm watching in the ring, but we were far away, unfortunately, but you still had an unbelievable view from the screen. So I'm watching it just without audio, but I've watched plenty of fights, and I don't need the audio guys to tell me how I should be scoring a fight. So the way I looked at the fight was the rounds that Crawford was winning were kind of close. There was a couple of dominating rounds, but Canelo, for example, like in round 2, he had a very dominant round. That was like, so if you give Canelo round 2 because he wins it going away easily in the round, and partly because Terence Crawford has notoriously been a slow starter, and then you pick a round like somewhere in the middle of the fight where, it's kind of close, but you give it to Crawford, okay, that's fine, but you see one guy, and that's why boxing scoring is so crazy sometimes, because you can win a round big and you get 10-9, if you don't get the knockdown, but you can win another round where you might shade it because you land one extra punch and you still get the same score of 10-9. There's no added bonus for being more dominating. So when they got to the middle of the fight, they're going back and forth on my scorecard. When I got to round 10, and I did this after the fact, I looked at the judges' official scorecards. 2 of the judges after round 10 had it 95-95. That is exactly how I had it. Now, Steve Weisfeld, who I've known for, probably 25 years, who I consider the best judge in boxing, he had it 96-94 after 10 rounds. So 1 round difference, 6 rounds to 4 in favor of Crawford. And then Crawford clearly has the best round of the entire fight in round 11, where he was walking Canelo down and backing him up and, going upside his head.
And he's standing in the middle of the ring toe-to-toe.
Yeah, exactly. And where people thought he would try to box and move, but he stood his ground and he went in there and he fought him. And he won the 11th round big, and then he won the 12th round handily. And so now that comes out in the scoring. You have Weisfeld because he gave him, he won the final 2 rounds on all 3 scorecards. So Weisfeld comes up with the 8-4 card, 116-112. And the other 2 judges, because he won those last 2 rounds, he wins it 7 rounds to 5, 115-113. I thought that was fine. Now, if you want to tell me that you thought maybe Crawford should have won at 117, you're changing one other round in the fight. I don't understand why people are losing their minds. He won the fight. That's the bottom line. And he did so without leaving any doubt. So if you had it a little bit closer, then maybe somebody that scored a little bit wider, okay, fine. By the way, boxing is subjective. And you're not necessarily right, and I'm not necessarily right. There's ways to look at fights a lot of different ways. And I get so sick and tired of all the BS after fights because you all come up with the same winner, but God forbid we were 2 rounds different. Oh, come on. So don't tell me I'm a criminal. Okay?
The irony of us going back to where we started, but I still love you, so it's fine. I get it.
Dan, let me ask you this, because I thought the last couple rounds, especially with Crawford, where like DB's saying, he's standing in the middle of in the ring and exchanging with Canelo in a way that nobody thought he was going to do. It seemed to me reasonably early that Crawford had took a couple shots from Canelo and decided he didn't think Canelo could hurt him. Whether that was true or not, I don't know. But at what point in the fight did you kind of, or did you think Crawford thought, hey, I think I can stand in with this guy and I don't think he's going to hurt me?
I forget the round it was. It was early first, probably in maybe like the 3rd or 4th round, there was an exchange.
Oh, the overhand right that got home, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he didn't budge from it. And you're like, okay, Canelo hasn't shown big punching power in his last several fights. Now, he hasn't had a knockout since 2021 when he fought Caleb Plant, which was really his last great performance when he became the undisputed champion at super middleweight for the first time. And ever since then, although he did lose to Bivol moving up in weight, but the other super middleweight fights he won, and he won handily. It wasn't like he was really in any kind of danger whatsoever. And he did score some knockdowns in those fights. He dropped John Ryder. He dropped Edgar Berlanga. He's scoring knockdowns against Munguia. He was getting guys on the ground, but he wasn't finishing them. If you take the Munguia fight out of, for example, there was one moment in that fight where I really felt like, because he didn't want to embarrass Munguia, He liked Munguia. He was another fellow Mexican that he had him ready to go in like maybe the 10th or 11th round. And if you watch the video, there's a moment where he lands like a big punch on him, and he literally grabs him by the arm and holds him up. I feel like he carried him to the end of that fight. But besides that, he scored several knockdowns. He dropped Charlo, for example, and Berlanga, and Ryder. These are all in a row. You know what I'm saying? So ever since the third Golovkin fight, who's got Golovkin with one of the great chins of all time, as does Canelo, in order, Ryder, Charlo, Munguia, Berlanga, all on the deck. But he didn't finish them. And then William Skull, who ran for 12 rounds, he never even got close to the guy. So he showed power from the standpoint of getting knockdowns. But Crawford, has always, shown a good chin. I mean, these guys combined together have like over 100 fights, and there's never been an official knockdown against either one of them. So obviously Crawford was coming up in the weight, but the fact that he built his body up the way he did, my question going in is, okay, is he going to go all the way up to super middleweight or right about there to try to be sturdy, and he's going to maybe know he's going to try to stand in there a little bit? Or is he maybe going to come in, 65, 64, and have to go all the way to 68? Because if you come in a little bit lower, now I'm going to box. I want to retain my speed. I want to give myself the ability maybe to move a little bit more. So when I saw him come in at 65 or 67 and a half, that to me anyway,
that's the
and
difference.
I haven't had a chance to ask Crawford this, but I'm thinking, I'm not here to box and move. I'm here to stand and fight if I have to. And that's exactly what he did. So when he got hit with that right hand that you referenced, I'm like, okay, he took the shot. He doesn't want to take too many of those, but he knows if it has to happen, he can deal with it. He didn't run. He stood in the pocket, and he traded with this man at times. And then at the end of the fight, the biggest surprise of all is he, a guy not known for this type of style, was walking the guy down, the much, so-called bigger guy, more experienced guy at that weight class, and he was taking it to Canelo Alvarez.
Dan, I'll let you know how the sausage is made Friday. True story. We're at the barbershop. So cue all the stereotypes. Yep, we were at the barbershop. We're
talking about boxing, huh?
Yep.
Wow.
Well, I mean, do people really go to the barbershop to get a haircut these days? They go to the boxing?
So right away, and I've been one of these honks, right? I'm like, hey, take him. He's more skilled. The over-under's 10.5. You and I talked about the rounds. Once they both weighed in at 167.5, I don't think guys could flock to the casino fast enough to get the plus money, because I think the discussion for the last 2 months was, because even Terence was kind of iffy on how he wanted to build it, right? He's not a beef eater. He just how he was going to get there was going to take some time with his team. But once
I don't think he was sure what he was going to do.
He wasn't. He wasn't.
Yeah. If you take a look, so on the July 18th or 19th, which was the day before the Manny Pacquiao Barrios fight, and I was in Las Vegas covering that fight, but the folks that were running this show were able to connect me with Terence Crawford on a Zoom call. And one of the things I asked, and you can actually find that video, was on our Big Fight Weekend YouTube channel. And I asked him specifically about, because I was interested, because I've dealt with this before with other fighters, Bernard Hopkins being a good example, about when a smaller guy is purposely going to move up to take on, obviously, a much so-called bigger guy, is how do they do it? Are they going to go all the way up to the top of the weight limit? Are they going to come in lower? And I was interested in that. And so I asked, for Bud to talk about, how are you going to reshape your body physically?
Yeah.
What is sort of like the plan? And he was like, I'm going to eat more and I'm not going to have to cut muscle, but in terms of like what I'm going to weigh, I don't know. I'm like paraphrasing him. And, at that point, there was still like 2 months to the fight. We'll have to figure it out. I assume they went to camp and, they were already in camp, but they figured it out. They had to, decide what the strategy was going to be. And clearly, and the proof is in what occurred, he decided, I want to be as bulky as possible for the fight. And I'm going to fight the guy.
Of these three characteristics, put them in order in terms of, if you get Canelo to say, hey, Crawford's a much better fighter than Mayweather. I won't get into whether he is or isn't, but just the fact that Canelo said it, it obviously has some merit. Rank these three things in Crawford that you think matter the most. His mind, right? His self-belief, his elite level fitness, which I think is underappreciated, or his boxing IQ. Kind of slot those three things in importance that gets guys like Canelo to say what he said.
It's not just Canelo or Crawford. To me, if you're a professional boxer at that level, it has to be the self-belief. It just has to be. I mean, you can work on the physical part of it, but you can't. You either believe in yourself or you don't. I mean, you can go to the gym and do your reps and do your running and do your pad work and do all the things to put yourself in supreme condition and all that. But if you don't believe in yourself, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'll give you, and this just popped into my mind when you were talking about, I saw Frank Bruno against Mike Tyson. Frank Bruno was like a body cut from God. I mean,
Yeah.
just a chisel.
Got off to the good start against him, too.
I'm talking about the second fight where he was so petrified.
Oh, yeah,
he had no
terrified.
self-belief. He walked to the ring. He was crossing himself like 50 times. Like he knew he was going to the death chamber.
Kind of like
So he was in the
Spinks,
greatest
right?
condition you could be in.
Oh, God.
There was no chance he could win that fight. He had no self-belief.
Yeah.
So that's where it starts.
Well, you see it with a guy like, I think this is right. We're like Roy Jones. After he lost the first one, it was
To
never the
Tarver?
same.
To Tarver?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like after he got the first, like it was just never the same again.
And Tarver starts the next. What's your excuse tonight, Roy? Like you knew it was going to be over.
No, but the first fight when he fought Tarver and he lost the decision.
Yeah.
In that particular fight. And I'm not discrediting Antonio Tarver because Tarver was a superb, one of the great amateurs in United States history. He became a top-level light heavyweight champion. He beat a lot of good fighters. I mean, he's a borderline Hall of Famer. But in the first fight, I'm going to give more credit not so much to Tarver, but because Roy Jones was coming off the heavyweight fight against John Ruiz, and he had to shed literally like 20, 25 pounds of muscle, essentially, to get down to the weight. And he still, on his worst night, bit down and won the fight. Now, by the time he got to the second fight with Tarver, that had taken its toll, and obviously Tarver had seen him for 12 rounds. And, and again, not to discredit Antonio, when he knocked him out, it was his eyes were closed and he threw a left hand. But what Roy Jones, that was, I think, more physical because of the weight cut. Now, obviously, in terms of Terence Crawford and Canelo, he'd have to do a weight cut because he obviously was moving up 2 divisions to take him on. And so I think each fight you could think of there's some type of their difference. Not you can't put everything in like one bag.
For historical reference, Dan, because you've seen it all. More impressive with what Sugar Ray did against Hagler relative to Hagler's prime, or more impressive with what Crawford did to Canelo relative to his prime?
I have to go with Leonard, and I say that because Leonard was coming out of a 3-year retirement. Crawford was not retired. Yeah, he may have been off for 13 months, but he clearly wasn't retired. And he came back and did what he did the other night. But Ray not only had been retired, but he'd had the retina problems. He was also moving up multiple weight classes. And Hagler, in a similar vein, let's say, to Canelo, was a guy known for the awesome chin and big power and all that. But he had, in the not too distant past, he had beaten Hearns. He had beaten Mugabe in a very tough, hard war. And Ray was ringside for that fight. He saw something, but I don't think the public necessarily saw that Marvin wasn't what he was. But I still think it was the Ray thing. And I say that also because in terms of the buildup, although the fight that we saw Saturday is obviously going to have been viewed by gazillions of people on Netflix and this and that, it wasn't the mainstream kind of event all through the world and sports like Hagler and Leonard was. That's one of the biggest events in boxing or sports of the entire 1980s. That was the fight that people had anticipated for years. I mean, if you think back to when Sugar Ray Leonard won the welterweight title against Benitez, live on ABC in whatever that year was, 1981, I guess. On the undercard in the co-feature was Marvin Hagler in a middleweight title fight where he got a draw, didn't win the title. But the point is, even as back far as that 1981, so 6+ years before they finally fought, they were on the same show together. That was not an accident. There was a lot of discussion for many years they would fight each other, and Ray teased and then invited Marvin to the ceremony. They thought they were going to announce the fight, and Ray retired and got Hagler all upset. So the buildup was so much greater. In terms of Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, this was a fight that Terence Crawford thought about a few years ago and wanted to have it, and then it finally became like a thing, if you will, in the once the Errol Spence rematch was not going to happen. And being honest, there was never a public demand for Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Now, we'll take it because anytime you can get 2 great future Hall of Famers to fight each other, that's a good thing. But there was no particular public demand to see this fight as opposed to Leonard and Hagler, which the world had died for so long.
Dan, I got to ask you, as we're talking about historical context here, as we talked a ton about legacy and what this means for Crawford beforehand. Now that it's over, now that he got the win, I mean, people are talking about where he ranks pound for pound, where he ranks historically. How do you put this in historical context for what this means for Bud Crawford's legacy?
Well, I think in terms of right now, there's still a 3-headed monster in terms of who you like pound for pound. Some people will pick Crawford. Can't argue with that. Some people will pick Naoya Inoue, who's much more active, who also, like a few hours after Crawford beat Canelo in Japan, Inoue beat Akhmadaliev, who was by far the best contender in his weight class, and he did it easily. And he's also been much more active than Bud's been. And, of course, Alexander Usyk, who was the undisputed heavyweight champion, who is on an amazing roll right now also and looked, extremely sharp. He's got same kind of background. He's won titles in multiple divisions. He's also actually, with Crawford becoming undisputed in 3 weight classes, 140, 147, now 168. The other 2 guys, there's only 2 other people that have even done it in 2 weight classes among the men, and those are the 2 guys I just mentioned. Inoue, who's been undisputed in 2 divisions, 4 divisions overall, and Alexander Usyk, who's been undisputed in 2 divisions in cruiserweights and heavyweights. So those are the 3 guys right now. But if you tell me you think Bud's number 1, I can't argue with that. I actually am thinking to myself, who do I want to put in that position? I may be, if the spirit moves me later in the week on my Fight Freaks Unite Substack newsletter, I may do my top 10 pound for pound and take the abuse from everybody that wants to get on my case about my list. But historically speaking, we already knew that Crawford was going to be in that conversation just for his previous accomplishments. But when you beat a man of the Canelo Alvarez stature, it raises you up. So, I'm not a guy that's going to jump at the moment. I try to keep things in perspective. So when I go on my social media and I see, Bud Crawford should be like in the top 3 of all time. He's on the Mount Rushmore of all time. Everybody calm down. Take a deep breath. He's not on Mount Rushmore of all time. He's not in the top 3 boxers of all time. These are people that clearly never heard of Sugar Ray Robinson or maybe Muhammad Ali or maybe Henry Armstrong, et cetera, et cetera. But in boxing, and if you're think about the NBA, they make the all NBA, the 75th anniversary, and they pick the top 75 players, or it's that type of thing. If you're doing a top 50 boxers of all time, Crawford's going to probably find a place on your list. I don't know where he might be. I've never actually done my own top 50, but that's still massively elite company. I wouldn't put Crawford in the top 10. I mean, and again, this is not a knock on Crawford. I love Crawford. He has 2 big wins, Canelo and Spence. And the other ones are not his fault because he was frozen out for a while because of the back and forth between PBC and Top Rank.
Yeah.
But you don't get historical rankings based on who you didn't fight. You get it based on who you did fight. And unfortunately for him, he was denied certain opportunities, but that's life. And so he has the 2 great victories, but he doesn't have the depth of a resume of other all-time greats, even though he's got the accomplishment. So he became a 4-division lineal champion, which is one of the things I referenced in my question that you were talking about at the press conference. Who did he do that against? He became the lineal lightweight champion because he beat Ray Beltran. Ray Beltran will only be in the Hall of Fame if he buys a ticket. Okay? He became the undisputed junior welterweight champion against one of the worst champions in recent boxing, Julius Ndongo, who was nothing but getting knocked out by everybody after Crawford. And I don't want to say he got lucky by getting the title, but he was in the right time, in the right place to get those 2 belts. And of course, Crawford, good for him, they were opportunistic and they brought them together. I'm only making the point that it's not only about what says on your resume, it's what's behind that resume. How did you achieve that? And he didn't beat those types of guys to get to that position. You don't take it away from him, but you have to look at who he actually beat. So I'm not putting him in the top 10 all time. I'm sorry. Sue me.
All right.
Criminal.
Last one for me. I think if he did fight again, it would be something, it's Memorial Stadium, 93,000, something like that. Not very many fighters are going to sign up for that. Do you care if I don't think Charlo wants any parts of Crawford, but do you care at all that there'll be no Ennis or potentially? Does it matter who he didn't get after this?
I mean, not really. I mean, the Ennis is of a different era in a way. I mean, if you fought him, that'd be great. That'd be, I'm not saying that he wouldn't win the fight, but it would be, depending on the result, it'd be like one of those passing of the torch kinds of fights, which happen in boxing. But there's no pressure on him to fight a Boots Ennis. I don't think anybody cares about that. As far as what he's going to do, though, I was thinking about this. Most of the time when you see a big super fight, there's an obvious path for okay, what's the next big fight? It might not be the next one in terms of what actually happens, but you can see another opponent that might be the next fight or 2 fights or what have you, and you can sort of start to point towards that. After this fight, I don't see an obvious opponent for Canelo. He's fought everybody at this point. He doesn't want to fight David Benavidez. Okay, whatever, and David's now a light heavyweight. And for Crawford, he made it very clear at the press conference he's not going back down to 154 pounds. Okay, fine. So the 2 choices, I guess. And he also said, somebody asked him, would you go to light heavyweight? And he said no, because, he's too small for that, it seems to me. So the options now, okay, I'm going to stay at the super middleweight limit and defend my undisputed title or some selection of belts because the mandatories will start to come calling and eventually something will get stripped or he'll vacate or what have you. Or middleweight, which is a very weak division at the moment. So if he's going to fight again, you can either take over as the opponent for the guys that we're mentioning for Canelo next if he had won, and that's guys like the winner of the rematch between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr., the British contender Hamza Shiraz, those types of names. Or, and I actually kind of like this idea. I think this is interesting. If you want to create more history, because he's going to get paid no matter who he fights.
Yeah.
Maybe he wants to go to middleweight and pick up another belt and become a 6th division world champion, which at that point, you're talking about in men's boxing history. And I'll ask the same question. I'll just expand on the history. He'll become one of only 3 fighters on the men's side of boxing to be a 6th division world champion. It would be Terence Crawford if he won a middleweight title, Oscar De La Hoya, who won it in 6 divisions, and of course Manny Pacquiao, who did it in 8 divisions. That's another piece of history you can make. And if you want to go one step further, maybe they could get a bout with a fighter like Janabek Almakhanuli, who's got 2 of the titles. He could become a unified champion by beating him. And Janabek is not a well-known guy, but he's got great experience. He was a top-level amateur. He was in the Olympics. He's undefeated. He's got good punching power. Again, he's unknown. But again, if he wants to make another piece of history, and that's a fight that could probably be built up with the history element of it, maybe he decides to go to middleweight and try to get a belt there also, or stay at super middleweight and, like I said, continue on with some of the top contenders. But there isn't that, like, Canelo name, sticking out there that you can point to and say, I want to try to fight that guy.
That's Dan Rafael. Fight Freaks Unite on Substack. Dan, we appreciate the time. As always, go try and catch up on a little bit of sleep this week, okay?
All right, first I got to go, I guess, apparently because my scorecard was so bad, I got to take that phone off.
Yeah, you got to turn yourself into the local precinct down there.
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it.
All right, guys. Appreciate it.
That's Dan Rafael, Fight Freaks Unite on Substack.
He's got some conviction.
I personally agree. I thought that was much closer to an ass whipping than it was a close fight. But
hey, Shane, it's good that he and I could finish like we started.
Trading barbs a little bit?
Oh, 13 years later.
Just a little bit. Appreciate you.
Yeah,
my man sits to arrest me. I guess I'm a criminal.
You guys have gone the distance.
Yeah.
We certainly went the distance on the show here today. Appreciate you sticking around a few extra minutes with us so we could talk a little Crawford with our guy, Dan Rafael. We'll be back tomorrow. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.